Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Summertime, Will Smith, the NAACP awards are back. I'm your host, Don Cornelius. To my right, we have Supreme Thugalicious. What's going on?
Stop calling me Thugalicious.
and to my far right, we got Peace Up, A-Town Down.
Listen, our name is Tabutu X.
Tabutu X.
There we go.
That sounds like a new Mortal Kombat character.
Tabutu X.
Hey, we had a conversation. We need to get to this first and foremost. We had some blasphemy going around. I need the chat to get involved early on and early
Please
often.
do.
They about to light him up.
Please
Now,
do, because he out of pocket.
We had a conversation in here, and we thought we was all brothers. We thought we was all on the same page. And then one of us says, Love and Basketball was a horrible movie.
Horrible.
Fellas, can you co-sign that move?
Listen, I told the individual that said it. You
I
can't.
put my name on it.
Oh my God! I'm trying to save you. I was trying to save you.
That's what I'm talking about. Stand on your.
Listen, y'all already teaming up against me today.
Listen.
It doesn't happen often, but
All I'm gonna tell you is it's just certain things that's off limits. You know, like it's some very famous African American actors that was in that movie, and that was one of the movies that, you know, as kids it raised us, man. Like it's literally like you ain't seen Love and Basketball. It's like Friday. You ain't seen that movie. Like it was that good. So a lot of kids grew up wanting to live out that movie. They wanted to find them a girl that was good in basketball, and they wanted to be
That was
dominant
smart and intelligent
and
and
they wanted to go to
funny and
college and
Sonali
dominate and end up being married. Like the concept of that movie is how a few black people went about their lives. For McNuggets to say the blasphemy that he's saying, I mean, you lost a lot of cool points, and it's unfortunate.
listen, Friday's a phenomenal movie.
That's fine.
Love and Basketball is not. It's just not.
Oh my
Like, plain and simple. It's
What's bad about it? That's the question.
This is the thing.
It's so corny.
Oh my
He
God.
totally disrupted the team chemistry with the blasphemy that came out of his mouth. Now, like you said, it's a staple in the black community. Outside of the part that his daddy played for the Clippers. At that time, nobody played with the Clippers. But, I mean, one of the famous motivational lines came from that movie. Can't should never be in a man's vocabulary. You know, so, like, for McNuggets to disrespect, like, you know.
He said.
It's just, I expect better out of him.
Hey, McNuggets. Hey,
I'm hurt.
That's what I
Bro,
said.
listen,
I was
bro,
hurt.
That line is famous. Can't shouldn't be in a man's dictionary. Love and Basketball shouldn't be in a man's DVD collection. That's all I'm
Hey,
saying.
Wow.
Listen.
You are,
Hey, by the way, actually it should, because that's one of the greatest Netflix and chill movies of all time.
That's true too.
If you
Yeah,
want,
because it's so boring.
If
you
you
just
want to-
forget about the movie and start getting into the
by the way, McNuggets.
he out of pocket.
Ridiculous.
To be truthful, it is the same movie. The Best Man, The Wood, The Brothers.
Don't put the wood. Don't you ever say nothing about the wood.
You know, Save the Last Dance.
That
same
ain't,
joint.
That's
Save the Last
you
Dance. All
pushing
the
it with
time.
that one.
Hey, look. I got some phone. I got some phone right now.
Hey, by the way,
That's a bad visual.
if there was no sound, that is the most pause-worthy thing anything has done in the show. If you turn the sound off and your arm is rocking back and forth from right to left really fast, no, we can't do
If
it.
you seen the movie, you knew what he was talking about.
I saw the movie. I'm just saying, there's a lot of people out there that may not saw that movie.
No, then please. I doubt everybody's seen The Wood. If you ain't seen The Wood, then what are you doing?
I'll tell you what.
What are you doing?
It's super pause.
Is that pause?
If you ain't seen the...
It's a me. Y'all, man.
Hey, Cameron, when I apologize, we're gonna get y'all on tack today.
There's no better way to say that.
They're gonna
It's a pause on my man's when they was on ESPN eating hot dogs yesterday. Okay.
It was pause.
Okay.
Oh yes, it was.
You can't do nothing. Can't do nothing.
Can't do nothing
more,
today.
man.
Listen, we're gonna be on regular people's time. We're gonna stay timely. They're gonna be like, man, that show. Hey, the NAACP awards end at 3:00. No, we're gonna stay on time and be out here ready to go. Hey, we got a great show today. Obviously, we're gonna get to the Browns. I don't know, the Browns is kind of a couple weeks away from training camp. But McNuggets came to me a couple weeks ago, and he threw this out there. He says, G. Bush, if Deshaun Watson is not the guy we thought he was, would that be a bigger disappointment than when they were 0-16? And I really had to think about that. I think that we're going to have a really good debate and conversation about that, about what does the guy really mean, about the context of what you felt when it was 0-16 and how things moved during that time period. So that's a really good conversation we're going to have. We'll get to that. Coming up after that, Jarrett Allen's name. Now, we mentioned Jarrett Allen's name for the Cavs being moved in terms of this draft and whether or not they needed to upgrade at center or how they were going to get better. Now that you've got Niang and now that you got Max Strus, how does this roster look? And is it more palatable at this point to either get rid of Jarrett Allen, or do you think now because they got those long, assets and shooters and they tweaked the roster a little bit, do you think Jarrett Allen makes more sense to keep than to move off, or is it a little bit easier? So we'll talk about that as well coming up. And then we'll get into this topic. Star players. We've seen it all the time. We do it in Cleveland all the time. We even talked about it with Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins, right? Is it on the front office to go get, the players and make the dessert and get the ingredients and do something with it? Or is it the responsibility of the star players to make it make the pitch to other guys and to bring them into the fold? We'll talk about which one of those are really the optimal way to do it, and we'll talk about that coming up. Guardians Braves recap, and we'll get to the Guardians. And by the way, you guys are going to the game tonight, right?
We are. I was there Monday night real quick too. The largest regular season Guardians game attendance in 9 years. It was an absolutely electric atmosphere. Progressive was rocking. It was 10 to 15 deep in the standing room only section, which I've been to a bunch of Guardians games since I moved to Cleveland. It hasn't been anywhere near that filled. It was unreal, and it hurt that they couldn't get that one hit they needed to really, really make it a game. The crowd was so ready to erupt on so many different occasions. But shout out to Cleveland for showing up in troves. I think it was 38,000 in attendance,
I
whatever
thought
it was.
I would never see that.
Are you paying the $49.99 a month?
I actually got a free ticket on Monday, and then I met a buddy who had second row seats, so I ended up sitting with a free ticket, literally in the second row behind the dugout. Shout out Zach Barnett. Shout out my guy Zach for that.
Dope.
But we're taking I'm taking Earl, Steve, and Anthony tonight. A little treat for being loyal co-workers and helping me out. So
are you buying the snacks?
That's
too?
what I was about to ask.
Is
that's
snacks
TBD.
on
Listen, I got the tickets. We'll see how the snacks divvy up. We'll see how it ain't dollar dog night anymore. It ain't dollar dog night.
No, that ain't how it works. You invited them out, and you take care of everything. That's how it works.
And you know Earl be hungry too. He be lifting weights now.
McNuggets. That's like asking a girl out to a date but not paying her tab. Like that. That's what that's.
I said we'll see. I didn't say no. I didn't say no.
Hey, shout out to you. People don't be taking people out to eat like that, man. This is actually kind of funny too, man. We're gonna get to this. Which UCSS panelist would be the best recruiter, right? And ironically, Tyvus does recruiting for a living, dog. But we're gonna tell you why G. Bush would be a better recruiter than Tyvus, even though he does it for a living.
I'm just a guy. I don't.
Tyvus tell the truth too much.
That's exactly what I do. Keep it 1,000.
He be keeping it 1,000. I'm selling moms all the dreams, all of them.
That. I'm not gonna. One thing about me is I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie.
Hey, we got 60 seconds with AJ Green in reaction. Oh, and we got some sound coming up as well. Amani Bates spoke the first time he spoke. I think all year. It's a 3-minute clip.
First time as a Cav. So Evan He spoke for 8 minutes. The Cavs only posted about 3.5,
Okay.
which is a little suspicious.
Okay.
Not quite sure why they cut it off halfway through, but Evan Dammerel of Locked On Cavs was at that press conference, and he's going to join us about 12:15 to talk about what Amani Bates said, get into some of the things. And one thing in particular he said kind of stood out, and I think it's going to lead to a very interesting conversation on our end about the timing and just the comments in general. So we will have some Amani Bates breakthrough and reaction too. But we got to start with a new game here.
Here it is.
I don't even know if it's a real game. It's more of just a preview segment, but I thought of a little different way to do it. So I'm going to give you a scenario. I'm going to give you a stat and 2 options, and I want you guys to write your answer. Then we'll explain why as to which one you're picking in a sec. But essentially, it's who will have more. And I'm going to give you 2 guys for the upcoming season, a category. We're going to pick who will have more of each category. So we're going to start with touchdown passes. Who will throw more touchdown passes in 2023? 1 Deshaun Watson or 2 Aaron Rodgers?
Dang, these dudes, that's what I'm saying. These off-season joints be tough. Like, you gonna come with that one immediately,
That is-
ASAP?
I mean,
Man, touchdown passes. Deshaun Watson, don't be having me looking crazy, bro. You don't have me out here looking crazy.
Yeah, these all should be pretty close. I hopefully we're not going to go clean sweep on all of these, but I am curious to see who is higher on certain players than others. And Rodgers obviously moving to a new team, coming off a down season. Deshaun Watson, 7 touchdowns in 6 games last year. Both guys looking to rebound to their MVP form. G. Bush, you ready?
Yes,
Earl,
sir.
you ready? Tavis, you ready?
yes.
Let's flip, see what you guys got. More touchdown passes. Aaron Rodgers, according to Tyvis. Watson from G. Wait, A-Rod off the shrooms been crazy. So you're picking Rodgers, Tyvis?
Yeah.
And the other 2 are picking Watson. G, I'll start with you because I see you gave me exact numbers. You have Watson with 2 more than Rodgers.
Yes. 2 more TDs for Deshaun Watson. Now look, it's gonna be close. And I think the reason it will be extremely close is because, you know, Aaron Rodgers, I think, got one of the guys that's going to be – that Garrett Wilson is a monster. So I think the way he going to get back shouldered up, some of the ways that he can place the ball and get it to him in these tight areas, I think he's going to have a really great year. But when I look on the other side of the football, I look at Deshaun Watson, and I like the weapons more. I like Elijah more. I know what I got in Cooper. You know, we always talk about DPJ. You know, I think that the overall collection of talent is better offensively. And I think because Deshaun Watson is going to be in the system more, have more control over what he likes and what he doesn't like, I think it's going to lead to him, you know, throwing a few more touchdown passes. But Aaron Rodgers, just on skill level and being new to the Jet system, I think, you know, he'll be down a couple touchdowns. 35-32 Watson.
Earl, you doubling down on that?
Yeah, I think for me, you know, you go back to last season when Russell Wilson first arrived in Denver, Deshaun Watson with his 6 games here in Cleveland. Quarterback's first year, new team, new city, new system, chemistry, right? Mm-hmm. You know, you got to build that chemistry. There's going to be bumps in the road with that. And even though Aaron Rodgers is familiar with the offense, you still got your first year with a coach, first year with this team. The fact that Deshaun Watson has been here now for almost, you know, 2 full seasons as far as the, you know, just being inside the building, being around the team. He knows the playbook. He's comfortable with Kevin Stefanski. He's been working on this thing for a while. You got a chance to see him at OTAs. I just think chemistry will play a huge role in that, and I see him throwing for more touchdowns than Aaron Rodgers.
And Tyvis, you're on the other side. You said Rodgers because he's not on mushrooms, or is there a little more analysis you can provide?
No. You know, ever since he's discovered ayahuasca, you know, he speaks at the psychedelics and everything. You know, he's all in on this whole thing. And, you know, he even came out and said that before he discovered ayahuasca, he was throwing, you know, 27 touchdowns, 8 picks, something
Is that
like
legal?
Yeah, it is.
In the CBA, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's illegal. So, and he was speaking in Denver and Oregon. See, Denver and Oregon is legal to do all of these things. It's decriminalized.
I got you.
So, anyways, so he said that, you know, before he discovered ayahuasca, 27 touchdowns, 8 picks. Said after he discovered ayahuasca, 42 touchdowns, 8 picks. So the proof right there is in the pudding for him. He said that it has really unlocked him. The biggest difference between Deshaun and A-Rod is that A-Rod don't have a Nick Chubb that's getting paid, $20 million, something like that. He don't have to worry about him getting satisfied getting the ball. So with that being said, they have to justify them making this trade for Aaron Rodgers. Therefore, you have to put the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands. He will be the one that's supposed to take them over the hump, because last year they were ready to go. They were just a quarterback away. I mean, Joe Flacco came and did some amazing things, but once Zach Wilson took back over, things slowed down. They expect Aaron Rodgers to come in, and if he continues to play, he was a 2-time MVP just, 2 years ago. If he plays like that and he has the weapons to do that, I think he's very capable of throwing those way more touchdowns, because like I said, Breece Hall, is his name Breece Hall? Mm-hmm. Breece Hall is coming off an injury, so he's not going to be 100% healthy at the beginning of the season. That's time for Aaron Rodgers to really eat.
Let me ask you this question.
And on top of that, he got his OC back. He back with what's his OC that was with him in Green Bay? That got fired in Denver.
Nathaniel Hackett.
Nathaniel Hackett.
I was going to ask you a question. When you were playing in the league and you're going against, so Saleh is a defensive-minded head coach.
Yes,
right?
he is.
Did you find that there was any truth to the fact that sometimes defensive head coaches struggle with franchise quarterbacks? Or do you go into a game and say, well, look, I don't think they're going to let him loose like they should?
Well, I'll tell you what, the only time I really got to experience that, I don't know what you would consider Pete Carroll. I mean, whatever.
He's a defensive defensive guy.
Well, the offense there was kind of shaky there. When I was with the Jets, Todd Bowles was the head coach, and the offense was shaky there, but it was Sam Darnold's first year.
Yeah.
What I will say is that with the Jets situation, I don't think that's going to play a major part, because of the fact that Nathaniel Hackett and Aaron Rodgers have already had success together. Mm-hmm. I think Robert Saleh is one of those guys who's going to be very hands-off. Pretty much how Stefanski is, where he only thinks about the offense at times and let the defensive coordinator handle it. Pretty much how Saleh will be with the offense. That's your thing. You run your thing, and I trust what you're going to get done. Obviously, we got you the quarterback that you were very successful with. Y'all should be good over there. I'm going to worry about this defense and the special teams, because that's the thing that I'm concerned about.
I mean, the same thing happened in Pittsburgh, right? Mike Tomlin is a defensive-minded head coach, and some of Pittsburgh's best offenses feature Big Ben, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell. So it's the same situation. A guy that's a defensive-minded head coach but is smart enough to be hands-off and let the right people run the shit. So I think that I don't think it's going – I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a veteran quarterback, a Super Bowl champion, an MVP. He's a pro's pro. I just feel like there's going to be somewhat of an adjustment, getting adjusted to playing in a new division, a new city, somebody different in your ear and your helmet every single day. I just think it's a learning curve there. And
but he had the guy in his ear for
he had
his best seasons.
Yeah, I mean he has. I just think, man, this new scenario.
At the end of the day, it's the Nick Chubb thing. That's the thing.
You think so?
If Breece Hall was 100% healthy, maybe, because he was off to an MVP or a Rookie of the Year.
What if they signed Dalvin Cook?
They ain't signing no Dalvin. Dalvin Cook going to Miami. We need to stop acting like he's not.
And we need to go to this second question and act like we is.
Yeah, just to clear something up, Hackett was Rodgers' offensive coordinator for 3 seasons, so he has more time with Hackett than Watson has with Stefanski. So just throwing it out there.
And didn't he bring all his receivers too?
Yeah, they got Cobb and so he's got familiarity, but just throwing it out there. Okay, next one. Who will throw for more yards this year? Not touchdown, passing yards. Watson or Jalen Hurts?
More yards?
Just yards, not touchdowns, just passing yards.
Oh, it's easy.
We had a 2-1 split last time.
Who they running back? Penny, right? Rashard
Penny.
Penny.
Yeah, they got him from Seattle.
That's tough.
That's the point.
That's tough. It's tough. It's tough. It's a tough one.
Earl looks confident in his answer.
They got to justify that contract that he just signed. I'll tell you that.
Easy money.
Y'all ready? Let's see. G's definitely going with Watson. Watson's across the board. Tyvus, you went last time. You get to go first here. Is it close? I guess is the question.
Yeah, it's extremely close. I mean, the difference is that they're more. I guess we're a balanced team as well. I thought that Jalen Hurts had an unbelievable season last year, but he didn't throw for that many yards. You know, they are a big RPO team, and a lot of the times he's so effective because of his legs. So he takes away some of his passing yards in that way. The thing I would say about what I've seen with the Browns is that, you know, now that you got Elijah Moore and you moving him around, you're gonna get him involved. You know, just even if he decided, well, I think they might have outlawed it now, but the one where they do the jet sweep and he just tosses it forward and he catches it, that's considered a pass. But I think they might have outlawed it this year. But if that's not the case, that's passing yards right there. I just think that they're going to get Elijah more involved. He'll have the more mismatches, and I think they just got more passing threats. Now, don't get me wrong, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown is some dogs, but they still feed their run game, and they do a lot of running to open up the pass. And I think with Stefanski's new quarterback and his new offense, he will be more passing to open up the run.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Tyvus. I think Philadelphia put a lot of emphasis on the run game, and I think Jalen Hurts is actually a big part of their run game as well. Mm-hmm. And then Miles Sanders moving on. You got Rashad Penny coming in. We know Penny has potential, but he's dealt with injuries. Yep. He really hasn't lived up to that potential yet. Mm-hmm. And just knowing how they run their offense with the RPOs, and I think when you look at the Browns situation, there's more of a threat of a vertical pass game than there is necessarily with Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You got guys with speed. I could just see situations to where Deshaun Watson is chunking the ball downfield for 40, 50-yard gains versus what Philadelphia might be doing, the RPO, possession receiver like A.J. Brown, things like that. Mm-hmm. I just think that the offense is a little bit more potent and a little bit more geared towards a quarterback being able to have higher passing numbers in Cleveland than it is in Philadelphia.
Well, I'll tell you what. Not about done. I've got my advocates over here. I've now amortized Deshaun Watson's passing schedule for the entire 2023 year. Now let's get right to it. I got him throwing for 4,800. People say I'm crazy. No, that's what I'm paying for. Like if I get in my car, I expect I'll be hurt. If you got a car that you think is nice and you get in and it don't work, you're gonna be mad as hell. If your payment is anything over $500, $300, you salty. I'm like, yo, I can go get me a used car and have it not start. What am I paying for? Deshaun Watson needs to have that new car smell. 4,800 yards. That is only 282 yards per game. If you thinking that's crazy numbers, that's 282 a game. It's not crazy. My payments is under 300. Mm-hmm. Everybody like payments under 300. I could do a lot with that. Now Jalen Hurts, he got better receivers. I'll give it to him. I like their receiving core overall. I like A.J. Brown. I still don't know what the Titans was doing. Devontae Smith, I like him a lot. I like their tight end. But at the end of the day, I think there's more of a collective body of work here. I think Deshaun Watson is going to throw for 4,800. Jalen Hurts gets to about 4,001. He'll have a little bit of that's a good year for him. That's his best. That's his ceiling. That's Jalen Hurts' ceiling right there. 4,000.
Do you know, Mikey? Do you know what he had last year? I feel like it was like 3,900 yards.
Alabama yards.
He actually did not throw for nearly as many touchdowns as people think. No. Not touchdowns. He threw for 3,700 yards last year.
That's light. This is the best he's gonna be. Yeah. I'm giving him money right here.
You basically saying Deshaun Watson is returning to his 2024.
I've already said that. We were standing on that too.
Oh, I'm just making sure.
We're right on the shores on the Rock of Gibraltar.
Okay.
We got the next one. We're moving on from Deshaun Watson. We're getting into the running backs and receivers categories here. We talked about these two comparatively a lot, but is there a chance that Derrick Henry can have one more hurrah and run for more yards than Nick Chubb? Or is Nick Chubb the official rushing king of the NFL?
It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. Man. How many ways can you legitimately spell Derrick?
That is how he spells Derek.
I
My
know.
brother spells it Derek.
Yeah, there's hundreds of spellings, I believe.
Earl's going with Henry in a surprise pick. So is that Henry as well, Tyvis? It is Henry. And G. Bush, is it a clean sweep for the Titans running back, or are you going with Chubb?
He killing me. With
All three pick Henry. Earl, start us off. Why are you going with Derrick Henry?
Well, multitude of reasons, man. I just feel like that, anytime Nick Chubb is close to winning a rushing title or anywhere in the conversation, no matter if the head coach is Freddie Kitchens or Kevin Stefanski, they just stop giving him the football. And then you look at the situation with Tennessee, Derrick Henry is their offense, right? We talk about Deshaun Watson throwing for all these different yards, all these different weapons that the Cleveland Browns have. You said you seen the formation at OTAs. They had 4 wideouts, and Elijah Moore was in the backfield.
Yeah.
So just the different varieties of sets that the Cleveland Browns can throw at you on offense, the different amount of weapons that they have on offense, and then looking at the situation in Tennessee to where Derrick Henry is their offense, and he's still showing he got some tread on the tires. I just think Nick Chubb is going to have a great season, but Derrick Henry will outrush him yet again.
Davis?
Yeah, I mean, for all the reasons that Earl just said, like we really banking on Deshaun Watson to have this big year, and if that's the case, that's going to take carries away from Nick Chubb. Now, don't get me wrong, Nick Chubb, they tried to take the ball out of his hands a lot last year, but he was still very productive in what he did. But I just think that now that you got all these shiny new toys at wide receiver, I think Kevin Stefanski is going to be more open to, show his ability to, call these pass plays and, get his shiny new toys, their production on the field. And, like you said, in Tennessee, your quarterback situation is you got Ryan Tannehill that you're trying to move on from. You just drafted one. You drafted one last year. You got 3 quarterbacks that you don't know. You don't really have a number 1 receiver because Treylon Burks gets hurt all the time. So you have no choice but to give Derrick Henry the ball. I mean, he literally gets the ball 30, 35 times a game, and I don't think that's going to change. That's just, Coach Vrabel's a very old school style coach where he believes in defense and running the ball. And I think with that being said, Derrick Henry's going to get more touches, therefore he's going to equal more yards. And no matter how old he gets, if that big dude get moving, it's a lot of DBs that's going to move out the way and let him go on and run and get his yards. So I think that happens more times than not in Tennessee than in Cleveland.
Yeah, my 2 counterparts are correct here. Listen, anytime you got the law firm of Tannehill, Willis, and Levis, that equals you running the wing T in the NFL. That's actually an equation. This is Pythagorean's theorem on steroids right here. These dudes, these guys, I watched the last year when Malik Willis was playing in Kansas City. These dudes was running direct snaps. Anytime that you see the Wildcat, you know a team is waving the red flag. They're waving it. They're like, oh, listen, we have nothing in our playbook. Anytime you see a back there by himself, these guys are going to be running the ball, and Derrick Henry is the only offense they got. They have no receivers. As a matter of fact, they don't have no numbers in the 80s. Did you guys know that? They gave them all the way to charity. Now they only got 50 through 56. That's the only numbers they got left. No receivers to speak of. Derrick Henry wins the rushing title, but only by 52 yards.
That's close. And that's actually a testament to Nick Chubb. All right, what about the next one, Steve? Your very next question. This is total touchdowns, not rushing, not just receiving. This is total touchdowns. Chubb or Austin Eckler? Who has more in 2023?
Stop.
Who does Austin Eckler play for?
The Chargers.
That's
Stop
easy.
it.
Didn't he
Stop
want
it.
to he wanted to leave?
Bad job.
Man, stop it. Don't do this. Don't even do this. Don't
I
even.
bet you two have different answers. You
Who?
guys are telling me. Oh, really?
Stop playing.
Really?
That's
Okay.
easy.
Stop playing. This man led.
It's ridiculous.
He led. Well, I ain't gonna say he led the league. He been up there in like the past 2 seasons.
Listen, it's a reason why he's always one of the top 3 fantasy running backs
I'm
off
telling
the
you,
board,
don't
man.
do this.
He
That's
catches he would catch one and run for. I've seen games where he's ran for 2 and caught 2 in the same game. Like, he's a touchdown machine.
Yeah.
If he don't do nothing else, man, he gonna score some touchdowns.
All right, so this was going to be.
Last year, it was 17 to 15 for Eckler, and you're going with close again. So 3 for Eckler. You guys, I don't want to say you're sleeping on Chubb, but
Nah, I pick Chubb every year because it's a reason for me to watch the game with some anticipation. But this is close. Chubb going to have 13 touchdowns next year. He gonna have 13. He gonna get that off. Like Eckler, but I'm waiting for him to fall off though.
Why?
He's a small body back. I don't really like his speed. I don't like his face mask.
No, man, Eckler a complete back. He can run in between the tackles, outside the tackles. He can catch out the backfield. He can block. And you got to think, Keenan Allen is getting older at wide receiver. You got a young receiver in Palmer. Mike Williams is probably their best receiving option.
He always hurt.
Like, I think he's
How old is Eckler?
Who do you think's older, Chubb or Eckler?
Eckler about 60.
No, I mean they're 28 and 27. Eckler's a tiny bit older, but they are right in the same.
But they don't got. Hey, look, first of all, it's a different body though.
Very different body.
Very different body. Like it's a 3-0 body.
This way.
And then it's a landslide body.
Put it to you this way: he's probably option 2 in the passing game, option 1 in the running game. So.
Yeah.
Talking about Eckler,
Man,
so
Yeah.
y'all gotta cut this out. Like this man literally, he might have what?
you ain't
18
telling me
touchdowns,
that.
like-
Listen.
I went for the last 2 seasons. How many touchdowns has he
It
scored?
ain't no landslide though.
Yes, it is.
He
It definitely
17 and
is.
15.
It definitely
You
is.
do know that.
17 and 15.
You know Chubb getting the ball taken out his hand.
No.
See,
Eckler had 20
No.
touchdowns in 2021 and 18 touchdowns in 2022.
Why are we?
No. See, here's the thing, Thomas.
Why are we doing this?
Because you understand this. If you running, you know what? If this is the misnomer is that Chubb is not gonna have the ball taken out of his hands. Do you know with less people in the box, Chubb gonna have the ball and he's gonna score more because them is touchdowns. I love to see DBs tackle him. I want you to be in dime. As a matter of fact, I love you to be in dime. They need to be able to run out of passing formations and pass out of run formations.
So you banking on Chubb breaking long runs?
Oh, he's gonna have really long runs. Yes.
Okay.
Them light boxes, I can't listen. And this is new. This is music to my ears, because guess what? Them light boxes, you for the first time is gonna get to see. You used to seeing Chubb get the ball, break a tackle in the backfield, make somebody miss, and then get 7 yards.
Last week, me and McNuggets was just talking about this. I feel like that his touches will decrease, but I think his yards per carry will increase.
Especially, you got to think, and he was splitting time.
Okay.
He was splitting time, Tyvus.
Okay.
Listen, like Kareem Hunt.
He's still gonna split time.
And this the new Nick Chubb, by the way. This the new Nick Chubb that go back and forth with people on Twitter. This the Nick Chubb that be talking now. You don't even know, bro. This dude is the Super Saiyan version. This crazy. He talking now.
I hear you who you try to convince, me or yourself?
Hey, I'm just throwing it out there.
My answer is solidified. It's nothing you can say to me that's gonna change my answer.
I'm just warming it up.
Austin Eckler will have more touchdowns.
All right, we're going to
than
move on
this
to
Nick Chubb.
the
Book it.
receivers here. The Browns have a clear-cut number 1 in Amari Cooper. The Jaguars have a clear-cut number 1 coming off a suspension in Calvin Ridley. So
I
we'll
forgot
have more
about him.
receiving yards in the upcoming season.
I forgot it.
Amari Cooper or Calvin Ridley?
Who does Calvin Ridley play for again?
The
Jacksonville.
Jaguars.
Oh, he's out of here. He ain't gonna be getting rock like that. He ain't gonna listen. That's Travis Etienne just down there just listen. Calvin Ridley. I forgot he was playing.
It's easy.
It's easy. Earl, tell us why it's easy and you're going with Amari Cooper.
So we just talked about that this morning, man. This is Mr. Reliable right here, man. Six seasons in the NFL with over 1,000 yards. He's one of 4 active wide receivers that have accomplished such a feat. If there's anybody that Deshaun Watson can absolutely rely on and bank on, like depend on the whole 9, it's Amari Cooper. Calvin Ridley ain't played football in a year. Everybody talked about how 300-some days, 700-some days off affected Deshaun Watson. This man ain't touched the football field in a minute. And not only that, Trevor Lawrence already got chemistry with other wide receivers that's been there for a year longer. I think that this is a young man in Calvin Ridley who's talented, but he's going to have to find his place in Jacksonville to where we already know what's up with Amari Cooper.
Yeah. Listen, let's say, hanging with Mr. Cooper. That's when I'm Mr. Cooper. 1,202 yards. Ridley, listen, I like you, bro, but you ain't played in weeks. It's been months, and you need to stay off FanDuel, too. Stop it. 1,063 yards. Don't be on FanDuel. Do not be on BetUSA. None of that. 1,063. You do come back, but I listen, this is it's an easy 1,200 for Cooper. You know why? It's lightweight. You can't double him. This is why I keep trying. You're not doubling him. He going to see singles. And this is the great thing about having a nice running back and Nick Chubb being out there being a menace. And a tight end, and some guys that can work in the middle. You can't double Cooper. He out there giving you route. He giving you feet. He's stemming on you. He breaking it. He doing tic-tac-toe on boys out
Christian
here.
Kirk had a good
Tic-tac-toe.
He did.
Evan Ingram had a good year.
They did. I like him. I like Calvin Ridley for the fact, but I got to go with Amari Cooper. You got Cooper
Tavis,
too?
you're going with Cooper too, right?
Ridley had a
Crazy.
He had a crazy year before the suspension.
He had some stupid numbers before he got suspended. But, you know, like I said, everybody's alluding to, you know, he's been gone for a year. And, you know, you got to get that chemistry back. Now, is it different from receiver and is it different that he had to go through what he's going through and what Deshaun had to go through? Yeah, absolutely, because that wide receiver, you're just running the route. It's up to the quarterback to ultimately get you the ball, and Trevor Lawrence played really well last year. I do think he needs to take another step. However, I think they're more of a balanced team. I think they work because they're not asking Trevor Lawrence to do a whole lot, but he is being very productive of what they're asking him to do. I do think he takes the next step. I do think Calvin Ridley helps him stretch the field to take the next step, but I just think it's going to take a while for him to get back to that form. So I got a good 800 to 900 yards for Ridley this season, but Amari Cooper is one of those guys that's, like I say, the route running is unbelievable. He's going to be open from the time to the day he retires, because his route running and his ability to get open and create separation is far none than anybody in the NFL, and that's just something that can't be taught. As long as you can do that, you will always be productive, so that's why he always keeps 1,000 or more yards.
Yeah, I agree with my man's right here, man. I think really it'd be somewhere between 700 and 800 yards.
Dang!
I think
For Ridley?
yeah.
Real quick, do you guys know his last full season was 2020? He only played 5 games in 21 before he got hurt and then traded and suspended for 2022. Do you know his stats from 20? I'd forgotten.
It was stupid.
It was
he had
crazy.
Like 17,
Yeah, it was
what, he had
ridiculous.
he had like 1,500 yards?
He had 90 catches, just shy of 1,400 yards and 9 touchdowns.
Yeah, it was stupid.
Yeah, that's cool and all, but I still think he's gonna have about 700-800 yards. His
No,
first
I'm not
year in
disagreeing with that. I'm
Jacksonville.
just saying I forgot how good that
That's
season
why,
was.
that's why I wrote it on the board.
And I'm locking in Amari for another 1,000 yards.
He was crazy.
I gave Earl the concussion face. I was like, dang.
To be fair, he was in Atlanta. I think Julio was still there. I think they might have just gotten rid of Julio, or maybe Julio was still there. So he had.
No, Julio was gone.
Okay, well, he was the number one option. I mean, Kyle Pitts just got there, 2 years
No,
ago?
Pitts wasn't there. Pitts was there 20.
Yeah, he was the only option.
So what y'all
they
telling
had
me-
to force him the ball.
So what y'all telling me? Calvin Ridley is the worst good receiver from Alabama.
No. Where you get that from?
Who
I
said
mean,
that?
he's not better than Waddle. He's not better than Devontae Smith. He's sure not better than Jamison Williams. He's not better than Amari Cooper.
Better than Judy.
Listen, hey.
Oh, that's.
I'm not sure how many of those dudes have had 1,400-yard seasons. Say what you want, but I'm not sure how many of those guys have had
I'm just saying.
1,400-yard
I just threw the name. Which one of them are Alabama receivers is you visiting to take off the board for Ridley?
Well, Jamison Williams
give me the
played
list
So
again.
you got Jamison Williams.
He's played 2 games.
He don't
can't put him in
count,
that
man.
category yet.
He don't count.
I would take Ridley over Williams.
What?
I would take yes. I would take.
100%.
I would
He ain't played,
1,000%
bro.
take Ridley over
He ain't
Jamison
played in
Williams.
the
Jamison
NFL.
played
Yes.
3 games.
Yes.
Or 5
And
games.
he's
Yes,
suspended
I
for the
would.
first 6 this year.
Are you serious?
And he's suspended for the first 6 games this year.
I'm
Well,
t-
listen, they need to stop. They need to stop doing fantasy football. Him and his boy.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Jamison Williams is better than him. He was drafted higher, and he has more upside.
He better than who?
That means
He better than
nothing.
Ridley.
That
You
means
crazy.
nothing.
He's better than Ridley.
Ridley really
crazy.
like that.
Amari Cooper.
No.
Hey,
Come
G.
on.
Bush, listen.
not
Jamison
t-
Williams has 1 career catch.
Amari Cooper. Wait, time out. Amari Cooper
Jamison
what?
Williams has 1 career
Who
catch.
better
You
than
can't
Amari
say he's
Cooper?
better.
I said no. Amari Cooper's better than
Oh,
Ridley.
okay.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying no to Ridley.
Devontae Smith.
I might go with Ridley.
Over Devontae Smith.
I might.
Oh man,
I just
boy.
might.
He bigger.
Boy,
I
stop.
just might.
Stop.
Okay.
They-
You
so-
forgot. You really
Now
forgot.
it's a good compare. Him and Jerry Judy is.
No, it's not close.
It's
not even close. Jerry Judy has not lived up to the first round pick since he's been in the league.
Hey man, they both listen. It's debatable.
No,
It's
at
debatable.
Jerry
least
Judy's never had 1,000
That's
yards.
what I'm saying. What are you talking
And Ridley
about?
had 1,400.
It's debatable.
No, it's not.
It's debatable.
No, it's not.
I think, listen, I would pick Amari Cooper. I agree with all 3 of you guys. Cooper's the answer, but I think Ridley's in for a big season. All right, moving on. Who will have more receiving touchdowns this year? Receiving touchdowns. Elijah Moore or Juju Smith-Schuster?
Who Juju's play for now?
He's now the Patriots' #1 target.
Oh, boy, stop. Like, boys, Earl might get more targets in New England. These boys in New England is fantasy killers.
And if you guys all agree, we'll move through this one quick because we got a couple
Hey,
left.
I wrote an article on my website
Stop playing,
a
man.
couple months ago.
I ain't
and
put
it said the Browns get more with Elijah Moore. Everybody talk about this dude's playmaking ability. We all have seen the different ways the Cleveland Browns plan on using Elijah Moore, man. This dude is going to be a touchdown machine. Like, seriously.
You had a lot of good ones, and this is the worst one.
Yeah,
you've
this
come up
is
with.
Well, listen, Moore's tough to compare to because he hasn't. We all think he's gonna be good, but he hasn't had the production, so it's impossible to find the historical link to say that's that.
People go to the Patriots to die offensively.
But not only that, I trust the quarterback better.
Yeah,
like Moore
man,
here.
yeah,
Like
it's
I don't
yeah.
trust Matt Jones.
We ain't even got to talk about that. We let Earl speak for
All
us.
right, we got one more then, and we will wrap up and move on to a Deshaun Watson discussion here. But who will have more receiving yards this year, David Njoku or Dalton Schultz, who is now the #1 target for C.J. Stroud in Houston?
We'll have more yards.
More receiving yards.
Hey, look. Njoku, if you don't have more yards than him, we got to have a conversation.
Oh, y'all like
C.J. Stroud. These guys, bro. Listen. Dang, come on. Come on, man. Like, come on, bro. Y'all Ohio State Buckeye lovers.
That's not
bro.
why.
Y'all been-
Schultz,
That's
one
not-
Njoku.
That ain't even why.
That's not why.
We'll start with Njoku, then we'll go to the Schultz
Man,
boys.
oh
Now
my
you think we
gosh,
biased.
y'all cats kill me
not
with
why.
that, bro.
That's not even why,
Listen,
man.
with
They
Ohio
listen,
State.
it's worse than somewhere Brad is saying, hey, Justin Fields, that man, he go get it done.
It ain't even why.
Bro, come
Justin
on.
It ain't even
Fields had
why.
CJ
great
Stroud,
fantasy.
It ain't
CJ
even why.
Stroud ain't played a lick of down.
That's not
we
why.
We're going to take him to church.
They used this against you just said that you know what, he ain't played in the whole year. We don't even know what Jameson Williams gonna be. We don't even know what CJ Stroud gonna be. Now they got Schultz getting more yards than stop it.
You want to know why?
Why?
Let's tell him.
Name me who they receiving core is.
Nico Collins,
Bums.
John Mechie,
So who is the only reliable
a.k.a.
guy?
nobody.
Just there it is. The correct answer could be AKA none of the above.
So why would it? So who does Schultz have to worry about fighting for the ball?
He's self-checked. He might want to figure like he's self-checked, bro.
Are you serious?
You got him
You
like
know
he's
who
top 10 or something.
You know who Schultz?
Yeah.
He is.
You got him like he top 10 like that.
He is.
No, he's not
He
top
is.
10.
I'm gonna give. Can I give you the other reason
Are
why?
you serious?
The Brown side, Jordan Akins, and I can promise you that he gonna take away targets and yards from David Njoku, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why. I got it on good account that Deshaun Watson got a great relationship with him, both on the field and off the field. And when you're looking for somebody that you trust in the red zone, somebody that you already got chemistry with, outside of DeAndre Hopkins, Jordan Akins was the other guy. Yeah, and I got this information from somebody who actually covered the Houston Texans. Has been doing so for a while. I think Atkins is going to come in here. I think that's the sleeper signing for the Browns this year. I think he's going to take targets and yards away from David Njoku. Not to say Njoku won't have a good season, but it ain't going to be what people think. He's going to be sharing
to
that.
get yards from Schultz. The question is he going to have more yards than Schultz? Not more than George Kittle.
But I'm telling you, like,
All I'm gonna tell you is, you see how Lamar Jackson's favorite target was Mark Andrews. That's gonna be pretty much how the Texans roll.
Listen.
It's gonna be a Dalton Schultz
If
because
you-
that's the only reliable guy.
If you were
Unless Tank Dell just become that guy.
if you were 62, I don't care how reliable you are. You are 62 on Madden.
I hear you.
Listen, David Njoku. See, this is you better get these dudes together, bro. They be playing with your
it
name
ain't
out
even
here.
playing. I mean, here's the thing. The Browns
with
got a
your name.
lot of weapons, right? Like, this is not one of those situations to where I think that there's going to be one particular player on the Browns, like, dominating targets, dominating carries or anything. This is going to be an offense that's everybody going to eat. Everybody going to feast, man. It's going to, whoever open, that's who getting the ball. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like with the receiving core, and you add another tight end like that, you got to remember, man, Mary Kay told us on this show, Deshaun Watson has had his hand in damn near everything that had to do with constructing the offense this year. You look at the quarterback room. You look at some of the additions that was made in free agency. There's a tight end that just came to Cleveland that's going to take targets away from David Njoku. And that don't mean David Njoku won't have a good year or won't ball out, but it's the weapons is plenty here. And if you believe that Kevin Stefanski is finally finna unveil this offense that we all think that he's been waiting to do, he was just waiting on the right quarterback to do it in the right situation, I just think there's gonna be too many people that's gonna be eating for him to have that, a high yardage.
What I want is this: if there's a mismatch, I ain't in the spread nothing. I want to punish people where they got a mismatch at, because that's what happens to the Browns. They don't get spread nothing on the Browns. They be like, oh, y'all can't talk in the secondary, touchdown Jets. Oh, you can't tackle nobody up front. Run to the left side, 36 yards. Now listen, no, I want these dudes to get, for once, I want my people to have it. You see how they be on the spread around? Nick Chubb can't get 1,200. Amari Cooper gonna get it. Like, they want everybody with 500 yards. I'm not signing up for that.
What are you talking about?
I don't want to see no.
I'm not saying that the
600.
The Njoku he's gonna have about 700 yards.
Hey, David,
700 yards. I give him 4 touchdowns.
David, if you watching,
7 and 4.
You know, now we get the other panel up here. They're gonna start talking about your money, David. David Njoku is not worth this amount of money. No. Hey, listen, these dudes. I'm saying, you better get it together. Better go get it.
Well, as spirited as that was, the chat is also quite split on some of these. And whenever we read you some comments from chat, it's brought to us by our dear friends at PCC Airfoils. If you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, well, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are starting off for all positions at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a sign-in bonus. If you don't apply online,
that man, you see how hard they working against me?
Careers to learn more.
Steve ain't right.
That's how hard they working over here.
Steve. That's a dirty move by Steve. A couple projections from the chat real quick before we move on. This from Logan Farkas. He says, I love Njoku, but my expectations for him is about 650, 700 yards. I think Schultz is going to get at least 900. Bill Gaynor says Njoku's at the share targets with too many players, so I'm going to go with Schultz. A couple guys have also picked Schultz, but also a lot of guys in the chat going with Njoku. KR Thunder says if he's a red zone threat like he did the last couple of years, he could put up a monster season. So pretty even split here, and I think that's a pretty good comparison to how we feel. Only 2 exact splits, or not splits, clean sweeps, and most of those were at least 2-1 splits. So a lot of good conversation coming forward and a lot of fun things to monitor as we move on throughout the season. But we got into the next topic real quick.
Let's get it.
And I want to set this up, and then I'll let you guys take it as the guys who were here through some tough times in Cleveland. But I want to give you guys the context of how this conversation began. On Pardon My Take a couple weeks ago, they had Rich Eisen on. Rich Eisen's a big Jets fan. Big Cat, the main host, is a big Bears fan. And Big Cat said that he's so invested in Justin Fields being the guy to save the Bears franchise that if he doesn't turn out to be the savior, it'll be more painful than year after year of the Bears just being bad. 4-12, 3-13, whatever. Because he's so invested, his expectations are so high. If he's not, it'll be more painful than anything else he's experienced as a Bears fan. So my question, as soon as I heard that, I called Earl and G and asked them this, and Tyvis we're going to talk about today. I'm not saying he's not going to be that guy. I'm just saying if Deshaun Watson doesn't turn out to be the guy we expect him to be, would that be more painful as a diehard Browns fan than going through an 0-16 season? The floor is yours.
Who started?
Yes. Yes. The answer is yes. It would be more painful than the 0-16 season. Reason being, because the problem is you can't get people's hopes up, and then once your hopes up and your expectations is high and it don't happen, that kills you all the way. Rather than you just being terrible, then you have no expectations. There's nothing to expect. You know the team's gonna be bad. But now that they got this great roster and this quarterback is supposed to be this great, he's got the contract. Oh yeah, and on top of that we've mortgaged our future for it. Then yes, if he turns out to be bad, it will be worse than 0-16. At least at 0-16, you knew you was getting the first pick of the draft. You do bad here, you ain't making up for it. So yeah, it's a lot riding on this, and yeah, I'd rather go 0-16.
Man, when the Browns went 0-16, we had 3 quarterbacks on the roster that hadn't had a combined start in the NFL. So I think if you were an above average fan and understood how the NFL worked, then you didn't really have any expectations for the Browns to really win. If they won 1 or 2 games that year, they would have surprised me. I was one of the fools who had season tickets during 1-15 and 0-16. So, it was disappointing to go 0-16, but it's not like it was something that shocked me. But on the flip side of that, man, I've been a huge fan of Deshaun Watson since the Clemson days. And I'm somebody that believed that he could return to that 2020 form. And so if he doesn't return to that 2020 form, that means that he's just a guy at quarterback. And if he's just a guy at quarterback, then we've wasted years of investing resources and things like that around Deshaun Watson to make this thing go. We definitely wasted $230 million. And like Tyvus said, we've mortgaged the future. I think when you set expectations, which the Browns clearly have, we talk about when the Cavs traded for Donovan Mitchell, it was them saying, we're trying to go win a championship. Well, when you trade for Deshaun Watson and you give him $230 million, that's you saying that you're trying to go win a Super Bowl. So you're setting an expectation for your fan base that, hey, we want to go chase a Super Bowl. And if that's the case and he doesn't come out here and he doesn't return to form and he doesn't live up to everything that we think he can be, then hell yeah, that's 10 times more disappointing than 0-16.
I can't believe y'all sitting up here saying this. Y'all done lost y'all's mind.
Yeah, okay.
What the hell is y'all? It looked like y'all got swapped out for Jason Lloyd and Jay Crawford. Who the hell am I dealing with up in here? Yeah, body double. They got new technology out here. Jay done morphed himself into Tyvus body for the boat. Listen here. Let me go ahead and just get into my files, bro. Let's get into this lab because this is crazy. Now, this is from May 10th, 2012, right? This is in Cleveland.com. Colt McCoy should be given a chance to start for the Browns, and they should be patient. Now, let me get this straight. The premise of your conversation is that in 6 games, you have now got to a make or break point with the Cleveland Browns where the world will come to a stop if Deshaun Watson is not the second coming of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, right? That's what you're telling me in 6 games. But my whole life, let me give you the list of people that y'all was giving chances. We went 0-16 and 1-15 to get Baker Mayfield. He's no longer here because he was garbage. That's the travesty. You got Deshaun Watson to make up for the fact that you screwed up that time. Oh, let's keep going. You screwed up on Brady Quinn, and you kept telling, give Brady a chance. Y'all been giving chances for the last 30 years. All of a sudden, Deshaun Watson get here, your patience is over. How your patience over when you still checking for Baker Mayfield? Maybe he might be good in Tampa Bay. Well, I thought he was good with the Rams. Stop the games. When you are 0-16, I refuse to diminish the value of 16 games. And Tyvus, you should understand that. Every person that's on that field can be done tomorrow. I am not sacrificing 16 games for nobody. And if you think developing any quarterback, putting all your picks on one quarterback is justification for losing 16 games, that's crazy. During that year, I woke up every single Sunday with the rest of the community, the whole world, and we said to ourselves, we have no chance to win today. Why the hell would I go back through that again and say if Deshaun doesn't throw for 5,000 yards and be an MVP and win a Super Bowl year 1, all of a sudden, you ain't got no standards. Why you lying? You don't got standards like that. We've been getting dog walk forever. What are you talking about? But now all of a sudden, we ain't got no patience.
But here's the thing, though. A couple things on that. When we went 0-16, we should have drafted Deshaun Watson that next year. That next year, we had the number 1 pick, and I think we had the 12th pick overall in the draft. The year that we took Myles Garrett number 1 was the same draft with Deshaun Watson.
Wait, hold on. All right, I got to cut you off. You take Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
In hindsight, you take Patrick Mahomes.
Put it to you this way. I remember having conversations with my cousin, right, when we had those quarterbacks. I said, don't trip. Even if the Browns was 0-16, Deshaun Watson coming out next year, we're going to be gravy, right? All I'm saying is you said it yourself. We woke up every Sunday and we knew we didn't have a chance to win. So if you wake up and you know you don't have a chance to win, how the hell can you be disappointed? You don't even expect to win. I expect to win with Deshaun Watson. That's my quarterback. I'm going to be pissed off, man, if the Browns come out this year and, like, they suck. Like, if this season do not go the way that I expected to go, I'm going to be so upset. It's ridiculous because I got real expectations for this team. I had zero expectations for those teams in 2016.
So what I'm asking you is, why do we jump to the – if you say – and I say, well, what does it mean to be the guy? What is that? What is the criteria for that?
Mark, that's a great question.
What is the criteria for the guy?
Okay, in this context, I think when you trade 3 first-round picks and hand out a contract that was unprecedented before, which I have no problem with, by the way.
That's the truth.
Come on.
That's what it is.
I think at that point, the guy has to be someone who is in that top-tier category. Does he have to be on the same level as Mahomes? No, I think that's unfair. But does he have to be in the same conversation as the Burrows, the Allens, the other top-tier quarterbacks in the league? Yeah, I think he does.
I don't even think it's about the contract. I just think it's about the level of talent. Deshaun Watson is a talented quarterback. Granted, he had a horrible 6 games, but if I'm basing it on everything I know about Deshaun Watson from the time I seen him play at Clemson to the time I seen him play last season for the Cleveland Browns, overall, this dude is a baller. So if he don't come out here and ball, then yes, I'm pissed off.
So
I don't understand how you that.
So when you phrase a question, the question says, repeat it again.
Look at this.
Repeat the question. Hold on.
No, it's fair.
Repeat this question. Hold on. Go repeat that question.
The exact question I asked and the one I sent in the rundown.
Let me see this rundown.
And I will read it to the quote to the people out there. Exactly how.
Here we go.
I said, if Watson isn't good, is that the biggest gut punch possible for Browns fans, worse than 0-16? That was the exact question I sent you guys in the rundown chat.
No.
Yes, it is.
No.
Yes, it is.
No, so you telling me that if he's not good, right? I've seen people for the Browns play and not be good, and they've still won 8 games. I saw Baker not be good, and they won 8, 9 games. So what I'm saying to you is,
when was he not good?
He was not good his last year here.
Oh, yeah, he was hurt.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Come on, man.
Here's the circular. Here we go. Here we go.
I'm just saying.
Here we go.
All right, listen. Wait a minute. Put the camera over his
Go
feet.
ahead.
I am not a Baker, bro. So don't even start that. He was hurt. The man was hurt.
Here we go.
Should he been playing? Absolutely not.
So this is my premise.
It's on him. He decided to put the helmet on and go out there. You healthy. But he was hurt.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm breaking it down to him. Like, my thing is, okay, like, we were so fine with bum quarterbacks our whole life. We ain't never had a quarterback. But all of a sudden, we got standards on this one. He played 6 games. Now, let me look at his stats. Can we look at his stats from totality?
Gee, you crazy.
Can we look at Deshaun Watson's career stats?
You are crazy.
You know what you gave up for him?
Hold on. Listen, so hold on. Let me show you this.
You know why you got standards on him?
Because you gave up everything.
Watch
Because look at that's why you got standards.
Right there.
That's why. That's why.
So my thing is, why would you see a body of work like that and then at the end of the day doubt whether or not the 6 games is more sticking in your mind? If I see a person with a track,
I don't care about the 6 games. It's not even about the 6 games.
We're saying if once his contract is up, if we ain't went to the playoffs or he ain't been top 5 performing, that's terrible.
So here's the thing.
That is terrible. We wasted 3 picks and we wasted $240 million. That's what
the premise is that is worse than 0-16.
We didn't have an expectation of this team to be good.
At least at 0-16, I can find a way to fix it.
0-16.
I can't fix that. I don't have no picks. I have no money or picks to do anything.
Is trash.
We have no money or picks to do anything.
The year we won 0-16, how many games did you think the Browns was going to win before that season? Be honest.
The Browns should have won at least 7 games.
What?
Hold on.
In 2016?
Hold on.
Coming off a 1-15.
Let me show you this.
You want the game by game?
Wait, give me the game.
Wait, hold on.
See?
Hold on. So coming off 1-15 with a quarterback stable, with no guy with no career stars, you thought we was gonna win 7 games.
Watch this. How many games did they lose by 1 possession? Give me.
We're gonna run down. I apologize for bringing you guys down bad memory lane here, but they lost in week 1.
So watch this. Go
In
ahead.
week 1, they lost to Philly by 19.
Okay, they got
In
blown
week
out.
2, they lost to Baltimore by 5.
Winnable.
One-score game.
1-score game. Keep going.
This is the 1-15 season. You want the 0-16 or the 1-15?
Whatever one you got. They
All right,
was
so
close.
this is the 1-15 season.
1-15. Come on.
In week 3, they lost to Miami in overtime. 1-score game.
1-score game.
In week 4, lost by 11 to Washington.
Okay, so you gonna count
5,
that.
lost by 20 to Tennessee.
You got blown out.
Week 6, lost by 2 to Tennessee.
That's 3 wins right there. They could have had. Come on.
Week 8, they lost by 3 to the Jets.
There's 4 wins. Keep coming. Ain't nobody laughing now. Come on.
In week 16, they lost by 3 to San Diego.
5 wins right there on your hand.
And in week 17, they lost by 3 in overtime to Pittsburgh.
That is 6 wins on my hand that you could have won by 1 possession or in overtime. See, you know good and well these games come down to a possession here, right? You know that.
Yes,
so why would it be hysterical that the Browns could have won 6 to 7
Because
games
that's
like I
so
said
vague.
off the top?
That is so vague, man. I was at most of these games, man. Listen, even if they lost by 4 points, man, you know how many times they went into the fourth quarter down by 14? The other team to put the foot off the gas already.
At the end of
That's
the
just
day-
the final
At
score.
the end of the game,
I
I'm
was
giving
in-
you facts.
I was in Seattle and San Fran. At
I'm giving you facts. At the end of the game, the Browns was losing by 1-score possession games.
You want
and guess,
the 0-16
give me the
season?
0-16 season. These guys, look.
Well, that's
I'm
the
just-
season we was talking about.
Well, let's go to
No,
that.
that was 1-15.
That was
but I
one-
just
come
no,
on,
remember
I'm
it was
saying
1-15.
the whole question is about 0-16.
This is 0-16.
Let's go. Let's see
They
how
lost
games it was
in
in.
week 1 by 3 points. In week 3, they lost to the Colts by 3 points.
Here we go.
In week 5, they lost to the Jets by 3 points.
Here we go. Looking crazy.
In
Ain't
week
nobody
7,
laughing.
in week 7, they lost to Tennessee by 3 points.
Here's another one. 4 winnable games.
In week 14, they lost by 6 to Green Bay in overtime.
5.
In week
okay.
17, they lost by 4 to Pittsburgh, 28-24. So 6 games.
These
by
are
1
winnable
score.
games, fellas.
Are
Come
they?
on. These is winnables. 1 possession, 2 possession, 2 points here or there. The bottom line is, we're not going to get in the weeds. The weeds is this. If you tell me Deshaun Watson is bad, the reality of the situation is the coach is going to get fired.
Yes.
And he's still going to be here.
Yeah.
And so,
we play. You got to play the whole contract
play-
out.
yeah.
So Stefanski's fired. The
Fired.
next coach is in here. No good. Nothing. They got fired. The next coach is in here. Still no good. We're not going off of just 1 year. We're going off of Deshaun Watson's 4-year, whatever.
but
the
he
heck the
said,
contract is.
no.
20, that's not what he
Clarify.
said.
That's
He
not what he
said
said.
that
He
for
didn't
his
say this
entire
year.
Browns
didn't
career,
say this
he's
year.
not the guy.
The question did not say 2023.
McNuggets,
That's why I'm sitting here like, what are you talking about?
Are we talking about his whole career?
Yes.
Or are we just talking about next year?
I'm saying if Deshaun Watson never returns to his 2020.
Oh, well, that's different.
Okay,
Look,
thank
that's
you.
different.
That's why I'm sitting here like,
That's
what are you
different.
talking about?
That's different. Like, hold on, that's different. Listen.
This man had argued for 15 minutes and didn't even know what we was talking
No,
about.
it's a very small nuance. It's a difference between just next year and the whole time. See, listen, I ain't ready these other cats, bro. Like, I can admit if I'm like, okay, well, if you change that, it changed. Yeah, it's new information. But I'm sitting here thinking, why would you say if he's bad in 2023, is that worse than 0-16?
No,
Because
yeah.
he's still going to be here for like 2 more years.
Hey, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, well, we
It said
good then.
the guy. If he's not the guy, that
Well,
means for the whole. That's why I just said we wasted all these picks and $240 million. That's what I thought you would have caught on.
I
by
did-
this.
I did.
This is like when Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce was doing the stream, and Paul Pierce was talking crazy. Kevin Garnett tried his best to try to tell him
That
that
was
we
so
streaming.
funny.
Like, dude, we streaming. Shut up.
That was so.
I wasn't talking.
Carbone after this? Carbone?
Like-
Carbone?
I was not talking about strippers and dice games.
Test.
I,
The stream got the drop on us.
He brought a rented girlfriend to a live
I
stream
know.
and acted like it was just cool.
Like it was cool. Like she cool. She got her girls with her. Like, what are you talking about, Paul?
I
Yo,
bought her
what's
for
that
the
cool?
day. This is my girlfriend for the day.
I said, yo, this is crazy. But no,
Yo, shout out Kevin Garnett, and this is not a joke. Listen, live streams are tough because it's all live. You can't hide. You can't edit anything. Kevin Garnett tried to be as professional as humanly possible and tried to save his boy's ass as many times as humanly possible in a 3-hour live stream. And Paul Pierce kept digging his grave deeper and deeper and deeper. And if you haven't seen it, just
check.
YouTube.
It's hilarious.
Effing hysterical.
Hey, it was so bad that ESPN fired him twice. They was like, you know what? Put his name back on the list. You get him and put him back on there and tell him he's relieved of his duties. No, but listen, I will give it. That was a good question, Big Nuggets. That was a good question.
Sorry, what'd you say? I was listening to Anthony.
I said it was a good question. It was a good question. Now, I was totally right if we was just talking about 2023.
Yeah, if you was talking about 2023, nobody would have said because they wouldn't blame him. They blame Kevin Stefanski.
Hey,
so
Mike, Mike, you got on my ass my first time because I ain't read my rundown.
Well, no, this is even better because G even asked me to repeat the question.
Yeah.
In the topic, and I repeated the question exactly.
Repeat that.
Word for word. But no, in all seriousness, we had this topic, G. What did I call you guys with this? Maybe a month ago?
Yeah.
I've had this in the queue waiting for the right panel. And even though, G, you may have taken it a little in a different direction than I anticipated, I still think it was a fun conversation. I think the chat seemed to enjoy that one too, right? What was the chat's overall impression? Chime in here real quick.
They liked it, and then the results of the poll here is Watson not being elite, 53%. Everybody's agreeing that would hurt more.
So that's pretty even. 53% for a poll that we do. How many votes? About 200 votes, give or take. Yeah, that's pretty even. Which means that. I don't know what that means.
That means
I know what that means.
That means I got Donald Trump pulled. Even want to argue the worst stuff, I still get 47% of the vote.
That's because they were confused. I think everybody was confused.
Hold on one sec. Let's make one thing real clear, just for everyone out there. None of us is saying Deshaun's going to be bad.
No.
We're just posing the question if. None of us
He
think
better
he's
not
actually
be
going to be
bad.
bad.
Hey,
I
16 rough, bro.
You think? Listen, Deshaun can't be bad. Listen.
He's not gonna be bad.
I think Deshaun gonna be a top 7 quarterback when the season ends.
He's not gonna be bad. Hey, listen. By the way, I'm letting everybody know. When Deshaun Watson is good this year, I'm gonna be the pettiest person in the world on Twitter. Do not at me.
Wow.
Like I'm gonna be petty as because I'm doing all the victory laps.
Oh well. You and everybody else.
No. See, that's what they're gonna sell you. They're gonna tell you that everybody was always down for this move. I got screenshots. You was not down for this.
Yeah. Anybody that was against it.
You did not like this move. Go ahead.
I mean,
They
had good reason. I mean, it was a good reason.
It's officially 12:06, which means it is the lunch hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. That means 1 week from today, we will be down at the famous Firestone Country Club in Akron for the Calling Companies Championship. We will have live shots there on Tuesday and Wednesday for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. But you can go as a fan for the rest of the week to see all your favorite senior PGA Tour players play in the famous Firestone Country Club Calling Companies Championship. Find all your information on tickets, free concerts, admission for kids, and all that fun stuff at colleaguegolf.com.
Hey, Big Nuggets, remember I randomly started a rumor that we was going to be down there? Like, all the executives was like, I thought we was going to be on site at the concerts and stuff. There's like, no, G.
You talking about next week?
Yeah, like all of
Are we not going to be there?
No, I'm going on Tuesday,
Look.
and Jay and Earl are going on Wednesday.
Look. There's like
I thought we was doing the show for
No.
you.
They said no. We going. You not going.
Okay. When he just said, because he just messed me up, I was sitting there like, man, what, next week? I got to go there.
Look, Tyvus was like, let me look at my schedule
let me
really
check my
quick.
schedule.
Listen, I know Tyvus needs to schedule in advance now, but Tyvus, you are good. You're coming in normal. Do not worry. It'll be a normal show for you.
Hey, you dirty. You know what? You gonna subliminal. You a subliminal. You know what? Jay-Z.
He crazy, ain't he? He crazy.
You know what's cool?
Because you know what? I'm petty like that too. I'm petty just like that. So I feel you. You ain't say nothing wrong.
That was you had to be a little pre-show meeting to get that one. But no, let's pivot to the next topic here. We got some Cavs stuff coming up here. We're gonna talk Emmanuel Bates in a sec. But first, let's start with Jarrett Allen. There has been some rumors after the Cavs free agent signings, or not rumors, but at least reports out there that the Cavs seem to be more open to at least having the discussion on whether or not to trade Jarrett Allen if the right offer comes along. They're not saying they're shipping him. He's not in the trading block, but at least now they're open to listening if teams want to make a move for number 31. So before we bring on Evan Damero from Locked On Cavs to talk Amani Bates, do you guys think Jarrett Allen will be on this Cavaliers roster on opening night in either October or November, whenever the Cavs officially start the upcoming season?
Yes, he will be. You know what? Please excuse my sweat, y'all. I'm not. It is what it is. This is why you shouldn't wear gray. It's hot in here.
Yeah, it is kind of hot.
So
Studio lights are hot. People don't realize studio
It
lights
is kind of hot. I was dehydrated below my lower body, so I had to wear some shorts.
Dark colors from now on. But anyways, just deal. Don't focus on me. Don't be looking down here. That's y'all problem. Y'all looking at the wrong things. Focus here. I've come to.
Steve is so good with those little camera movements.
Hey, that was subliminal too. Look at this slow crawl in.
All right, this is serious. Let's be serious here. Steve, stop playing. All right, listen. So I was against the Jarrett.
Ellen DeGeneres.
I can't get it out.
And her show off.
Steve, take the camera back. Back it up, please. All right, thank you. All right. Earl, get it together. We got to be professional here. All right, so I was against Jarrett Allen because of the playoff thing, and I was all for, they needed to trade him and whatnot. But to be fair, I started to think back on how the season went, and when Evan Mobley was at the 5, if you trade Jarrett Allen, essentially you're saying Evan Mobley go to the 5. And I'm not sure that I'm ready to say that he's ready to play the 5 yet. Why was he a defensive player of the year? Well, partially because he had Jarrett Allen in the middle. He was coming backside, blocking shots and doing things like that. He's a great defender. I don't know on a night in and night out basis he is a 5. So with that being said, I think that the Cavs need to be more strategic. I'm not saying you need to trade Jarrett Allen at all. What I'm saying is you need to get a center in there that can shoot, or a power forward that can shoot, where you can rotate him out, use him sparingly, because he is still effective defensively, and you do harp on being one of the best defensive teams. So I wouldn't necessarily say get rid of him. I just would say you need to find a way to get another center in there that can provide you some offense, and you have to switch them out in and out their rotation, and that's why, and be able to go against teams in the playoffs.
So I talked about this yesterday when I hosted. I actually talked about this very topic. To answer the question straight up, yes, I think he will be on the roster. But I am somebody that believes that the Cavs should actually explore trading Jarrett Allen. And here's why. When you look at what the Cavs did in free agency, right? You added shooters, you added a backup big man, you added a backup point guard. And to me, the foundation of this team is Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell. And you want to be able to build out your core around your foundation. And to me, that looks like that finding pieces and parts that complement your foundation. You did that when you got Max Strus. You did that when you got George Niang. You did that when you got Ty Jerome. And then you get Damian Jones to be a backup. So let's just hypothetically say we could put this in a pyramid, right? And put it in different tiers. Jarrett Allen is not a bad basketball player. Jarrett Allen brings a lot of good things with him. Let's say he's a tier 2 center.
He's a glue guy.
Okay, but if I can trade my tier 2 center and I get a tier 3 or tier 4 center that better complements my foundation, then I owe it to my foundation to do so, right? If that makes any sense to anybody up here. I just think that with the pieces that you've already added and you already know what your foundation pieces is, every move that you make needs to be about building around that foundation. And if you can find somebody that can better complement Evan Mobley when he does finally move to the 5, then I think you do so. And if you can find somebody that's silly enough to give you an up-and-coming wing player, and let's say a tier 3 wing and a tier 3 or a tier 4 center that can shoot a little bit for Jarrett Allen, then you do it because he's not part of your long-term foundation to me.
I could go both ways on this situation, but I look at it like this. When you definitely have shooters now, what can you do? If the Cavs like their defense that they really hang their hat on, they were the number 1 defensive team in the regular season. They seem to like that. They seem to think that that's what their identity is. Jarrett Allen is a big part of that identity. One of the things that you can do is You don't necessarily have to get rid of Jarrett Allen in order to do some things to make your spacing better. If you decided to keep Jarrett Allen and say we're just not going to start you, okay. Jarrett Allen has come off the bench in his career before, and you still have a shot blocker, Evan Mobley, that can play 5, and a shot blocker in what you're talking about with Jarrett Allen coming off the bench. And Tyvus says you don't know if Mobley's ready to play the 5 position. Everything is about small ball now anyway. Like, everybody is playing small except for, like, Joker and the Denver Nuggets and the Philadelphia 76ers is playing kind of big. But most teams is going small anyway. So, if you look at it from a perspective, you can find somebody else to throw in there, the spacing is much better now. Now, what you can do in playoff series, you can play different rotations in different small lineups. I could put Strus, I could put Niang out there, I could put Evan Mobley at the 5. If I want to go to all defensive lineup, and we need to stop somebody, I could play the lineup with Okoro, Jarrett Allen, and Mobley out there. And if you start Mobley at the 5, you're going to give him a lot more space to work around in the paint, because you don't got to do just standing out there. Now you got Mobley in the box, in the high pick and roll. Now, guess what? He get the ball, he can kick it out. He got shooters in the corners now. Now he got the ability to be able to maximize his growth as an offensive player. Now, if you telling me you could go get you somebody that's going to be a stretch 4 or another 3, that's going to be elite, and we can get them for what we can get them for with Jarrett Allen and maybe a couple other moves here or there, I'm all for it. I'm aggressive as hell. I'm all for that.
But that y'all 2 moves don't concern y'all from a rebounding aspect. Like, if you trade him for a wing or somebody like that, y'all don't.
It's a valid point, Ty.
Y'all don't think that, because it's not like Evan Mobley is just snatching 20 boards.
No.
And it's not like he's the biggest person in the world. So, are y'all okay with giving up rebounding?
Not necessarily.
But that's what you're doing.
I think for me, any trade scenario will bring a big man back that's of lesser value, right? Mm-hmm. But that's a better fit to whatever that can play off of Evan Mobley.
It's not, the thing is, it's not Jarrett Allen is bad. Okay,
we all agree on that.
That's not what it is. The problem is that they got punked. That's what happened. Because Mitch Robinson is not great, but he was a dog in the paint. He was crabbing. He was effective in blocking shots and grabbing boards.
Let's ask.
If we can get Jarrett Allen to just do that in the playoffs, we singing a different tune.
I think we got Evan here. Let's get him in.
Well, we got Evan, and we got Evan on today to talk a little Monty Bates. But Evan, we're having this discussion. We might as well. Mm-hmm. You're a Cavaliers insider. You cover the team for Locked On Cavs. This is Evan Damrell of Locked On Cavs joining us now. Evan, real quick, and Tyvus, do you want to ask him the question you were about to ask, and then we'll get into the Imani Bates stuff? But we have the Cavs reporter. We might as well ask him and bring him in on the conversation.
Oh, he didn't hear it? Do you think they want to get rid of Jarrett Allen for wings and people that shoot threes and stuff like that? Would you be okay with doing that, knowing that Evan Mobley will be at the 5 and you giving up that rebounding?
So you have to be comfortable with Evan Mobley playing the 5 first and foremost. Like, is he big enough? Can he handle it? He showed flashes of it when Allen was out with that eye injury, and he looked great in that spot. But my thing is just I think Jarrett Allen is just more valuable to Cleveland than he is probably to the rest of the league, because he does have a legitimate impact on defense, especially just because he can roam the paint and protect the rim and allow Evan Mobley to do a lot of the stuff Evan Mobley does well on defense, which is just a little bit of everything. And I agree, like, you need that shooting touch, you need that spacing. I think George Niang adds a little bit of that. I think hopefully Dean Wade finds his shot too, and maybe you can find a little bit of something, but the issue is, you mentioned a wing that can shoot 3-pointers and maybe play passable defense to work in a JV Bickerstaff system. Like, those are premium commodities in basketball, and unfortunately Jarrett Allen is kind of a part of a dying breed for the big man, where he doesn't shoot threes. He can provide you rebounding, paint protection, and interior points off of his guards passing to him. But, like, other than that, like, you're not going to get a ton for him. And I know I kind of heard G. Bush talking about maybe getting, like, some first-round picks or some wings, or just give you some ammunition to work with. And, yeah, that could be out there. But the Cavs aren't going to get, like, a Donovan Mitchell-level return, or they're not going to get what Utah got for Rudy Gobert. And the problem is, like, teams that maybe are interested in him also may not be so quick to part with their wings as well. And to your point about the rebounding thing, it's interesting, because it's just the question on what do you expect from Evan Mobley, and what is he looking like this summer and heading into next season. Like, he did come back into last season noticeably bigger. Does he come back even bigger and stronger than before? Or does he say, you know what, I'm going to focus more on being a 4 and focus on my shot instead? So it's a lot of questions, and I think I just put a pin in it for now. Like, I know people are probably saying, like, yeah, let's go make an upgrade because the time is now, but you had a pretty successful season, and now you're just kind of having more than 5 viable players in the postseason is probably the first step, and then you kind of see what you have as the season rolls along.
Evan, let's pivot really quickly to Imani Bates. He spoke to the media first, media availability. It seemed like on the internet, I think the clip was like 4 minutes or so, but you know, behind the scenes, there was a little more footage that the Cavs didn't actually have out there on the internet. You were at the availability. What did you hear, and what were your thoughts about some of the comments that he made, or you know, just impression of what he said?
You can tell he's a young kid who's had to deal with a lot of pressure his entire life. I wrote about this actually today, just previewing Summer League. He was 15 years old when he was called the next Kevin Durant, and he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And then he reclassified and was 17 years old as a freshman in college, expected to do all these great things and be the first overall pick in the upcoming draft. And even though he wasn't old enough, there was expectations with that. And he didn't meet those expectations, and then the public perception of him slipped and flipped quite a bit. And yeah, he did a lot of not great things off the court, and I think it's not apples to apples. Everyone's situation is unique to them, but when you're 17, 18 years old, I did a lot of dumb stuff when I was 17 and 18 years old. I mean, not like to the extent that Amani did, but still, like, people maybe were just overplaying that too much. And during his availability, he had mentioned that just like at his time at Memphis and his time at Eastern Michigan, like, a little bit of the joy from basketball went away from him just because there was so much pressure and so many expectations, and the spotlight was constantly on him. And I think it is humbling, at least, because he said he took it in stride, but it's humbling at least to go from a guy that was projected to be the next generational prospect to possibly a first-round pick and then tumble all the way to the back end of the second round. Like, he said this is the best week of his life so far in Cleveland just because he's finally out of the spotlight and he can just go do what he wants to do, and that's play basketball. And I think Cleveland's coaching staff is very conducive and mindful of that. He's admitted, like, hey, I haven't been great on defense. I need to be better at that. I need to get bigger and stronger because just looking at him physically, he's such a tall human being, but he's so thin. And he's like, I'm 182 right now. I want to get up to 195 just so I can kind of handle the rigors of playing the 3 or the 4. And I'm interested to see what he looks like in Summer League. I think he's going to be a bit of a project, a bit of a work in progress because he's so young and I think just kind of raw, and there's a lot of untapped potential there. But being in a system, or at least a culture, that is conducive to growth and kind of being around coaches that just will set you up for success and teammates that will set you up for success will do a lot of good things for him. And yeah, that soundbite of him saying, like, I lost my joy at Memphis and Eastern Michigan and I've kind of refound it pretty quickly in this week at in Cleveland so far. Like, he's like, I love every second of this. He's like, I'm just grateful I have the thing I love most back in my life.
Do you think that J.B. Bickerstaff is the right man in charge to, you know, get this team over the hump and obviously develop a kid like Imani Bates?
So that's a fair question. So in Amani Bates' situation, he'll likely sign a 2-way deal with Cleveland. He may see some time on the floor for the Cavs, whether it's a blowout or they are just resting a bunch of guys just for a certain night. But he'll more often than not, whoever's coaching the Charge next year, whether it's Mike Garrity or they bring in somebody new just to get that experience, he'll be spending a lot of time with the Charge next year, just focusing on his player development, focus on like his God-given strength and ability because he's just so lanky and long. But he's just such a pure shooter. You got to refine that and kind of get him, and this is something he stressed. He's like, I want to become more of a movement shooter. I just don't want to be a guy who stands in isolation or has to spot up. Like, I want to be a guy who keeps defenses moving and kind of feed off the gravity of my teammates. And to your point, JB, I think, is a great guy. I think he's a great coach. I think he has his finger on the pulse of this locker room. I think the pantsing the Cavs suffered in the playoffs makes you want to kind of question the legitimacy of everyone. I know, like, we're almost 2 months removed at this point, so it's fair to question like what's working and what's not working with this team. I wouldn't say, hey, fire him if they lose 4 or 5 games in a row to start the season, or maybe they kind of come out rougher than expected. But let's say heading into the like around the All-Star break, and I give David Griffin credit for this because he just knew David Blatt wasn't the guy. Like, if it's just like the vibe doesn't seem right, yeah, then maybe you pull the plug on it. Or if you're able to ride this out long enough and the Cavs flame out again in the postseason, then you say, yeah, I don't think he's the guy that can take you all the way. But he's so young, JB. He doesn't have a ton of experience. I know he did coach the Harden Rockets that 1 year in the playoffs, and they lost in a best of 5. And it's fair to question everything about this team. I know you guys are just debating Jarrett Allen. Like, there's a lot of debate about him just because he got bullied by Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, and Josh Hart in the playoffs. So I think the Cavs themselves just have to answer all these questions and kind of drown out as much of this noise as possible. And we'll see what we have, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 games into the season.
Hey, Evan, I believe that Ty Jerome was probably the sneakiest free agent signing in the NBA so far this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's the Cavs' primary backup point guard this season?
That's a great question. I think it's a great signing, too. I think it's even more clever of Cleveland just to price him out just enough so Golden State couldn't afford him. I think that's just like, a little gamesmanship, even though it's not on the court. But Ty Jerome is an interesting player. I think Cavs fans, when they remember that really beat-up Warriors team came into town and smacked them, Ty Jerome was a big catalyst of that. And I don't know if he'll be the backup point guard per se, just because Ricky Rubio does have that track record, clout, and most importantly, trust with JB. But if Rubio's shot just isn't working or it just isn't functioning out there, I think, you give Ty Jerome Ricky Rubio's minutes and let him play off of a guy like Karis LeVert, who you want to empower to be like your sixth man and be your lead guard off the bench, or he can be creative in lineups such like one of Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland and LeVert, and you just give more spacing to this team and more shooting options so you can allow your big guys to have room down low. You can allow your guards to drive to the basket and either get contact or kick it out to a guy like Jerome, who's a reliable three-point shooter. Yeah, I think it's a sneaky good signing. He fits in with the timeline the team's building, and right now, I don't say, you give him minutes in the rotation. JB's a guy that usually goes 8, maybe 9 deep. And right now, I have Ty Jerome, penciled in as, the 9th man for this Cavs team with LeVert and Yang and either Okoro or Strus, depending on who starts ahead of them.
Evan, man, we thank you so much. We'll talk to you as the season goes on. I'm interested in checking out Summer League, and we'll be looking for your work as well.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
All right, take it.
Awesome. Thanks, Evan. One thing Evan mentioned that I want to hit on again here, or I'm going to let you start, was the Bates comments of falling out of love with basketball or starting to fall out of love while he was at Eastern Michigan and Memphis and now refining that love. Earl, thoughts on the comments and how it was portrayed?
So when I came in this morning, me and McNuggets talk about it. Can I see Evan's tweet again before I make my comments? Because I think I asked Mike, I wanted to see the full context of what he had to say before I gave my thoughts on it.
There you go. Amani Bates shared with us that he lost his love for basketball after his time at Memphis and Eastern Michigan, but his joining the Cavs has re-sparked his love for the game, mostly because he's out of the spotlight and can hoop. It's been the best week of my life, quote from Amani
All right,
Bates.
so this is authentically how I feel. I know, we've been playing around, but I'm dead serious when I say this, right? Nobody in this world likes a liar. But you can't tell everybody the truth, right? Imani Bates came into this situation to where we heard Jason say he done spoke to 4 or 5 NBA teams. Nobody has anything good to say about him. Nobody believes that he's going to develop into being anything, that he's never going to fulfill his potential. You got a lot of people that's still talking about him being a head case, being immature. Dude has a target on his back, right? I appreciate him being authentic, but the truth is, nobody likes a liar, but you can't be honest with everybody, man. Some people will take that and use it against you. There are people already, man, and I'm not saying everybody in the media is like this, but when you've already made up your mind about somebody, or you got a pre-concluded determination of how somebody is, and they come and say something like that, that's clickbait that can be used against him. That's something that can work against his mental focus, work against the energy, etc. So to me, I just felt like he would have been better off not saying that at all.
I'm right there with you. I mean, it's just one of those things that, sometimes I like the authenticity as well. I mean, that's really where a lot of society connects with people that's not afraid to be their true selves in front of the camera. But I think that was just too much information. I mean, that's something that, later in life, after you've had a good season, you balled and you've overcome the odds, then you sit down on a talk show on somebody's podcast, you'd be like, you know what, man? You know, but I actually lost my love for basketball when I played for Memphis and Eastern Michigan, you know, but I ended up finding it back with the Cavs. But I just think it was a little early to give that information out because, like Earl's saying, a lot of people is going to judge you. Everybody's already looking at you with the side eye, and you just giving them more ammunition. Now, like I said, you go out there and ball. It don't. In the grand scheme of things, if you handle your business, none of it matters. But I just think we got to do a better job of knowing when to say certain things.
You know, I just think we need to take a step back and just look at the circumstances that surround the situation. You know, you get a kid that's on the cover of Sports Illustrated from the time that you 5, 6 years old. You got people that you don't know if you can trust them. You don't know if you got people that's in your corner because they want something. Your parents look at you different because you different. You different from your brothers and sisters because you got the golden ticket. Then you reclassify at 17. I think people don't understand that, you know, the human mind as a physiological and emotional person, your mind is still developing at 25. So take a person that's 16, 17, moving away from home, going to play at a strange place that you don't know nobody. All people expecting you to be the craziest person in the world. You dealing with the fact that you skipped your senior year of high school. You don't have nobody really that's there. You get in trouble. So now you done got in trouble. Now it's like, oh my goodness. Now it's like, I done let all these people down. I done went from Memphis to Eastern Michigan. And trust me, like I know what it is to be recruited by high schools and then all of a sudden they're like, you went to a MAC school. How'd you go to a MAC school? Like, what happened? Why? I thought you was going this way. So now you get a situation where now he's there, he goes to a MAC school, and when you have those many expectations in life, we don't know how everybody handles that, right? Like, so if you 16, 17 years old, I can understand if you lost your passion for the game. At the end of the day, I can understand as anybody losing their passion. There's times where I play for coaches and I've been in positions that made my life a living hell. I was at Ohio University. And I said, I hate this. You know why? We're losing. Our coaches don't know what they're talking about. And we went 1-12. I don't like doing this. And that's a part of you being older, right? But what you have is, okay, I felt like that. The first step in being a mature person and getting past certain things is understanding where I was at, where I went wrong, so I don't get back there anymore. And the first step is saying, you know what? I'm thankful for having this opportunity because now I did get drafted. Now I can see being around this environment and these people, I can grow. But the first step is admitting to yourself. I would have been more horrified if he would have said, oh, everything was cool. I was straight. Because then I would question, well, if you thought that was okay and you was comfortable with that, then we might have to strip this down and get to what the root of the problem. But I think it was refreshing for the young man to tell his story and to give his truth. And at the end of the day, we're going to get media people that scrutinize stuff anyway. At the end of the day, that's what we do. Our job, and a lot of what this job is, as Earl did say, people will take that and use it against you. That's the media. That's for us. That's what we do. At the end of the day, you don't worry about that. If that's your truth, you work on your truth, you work on your game, and now you insulated to a point where now you can get back to just playing basketball and doing you and building yourself back up. But I don't have a problem with it. He's 17, 18 years old. He'll get better. He'll learn how to do media training. But I think the first step was him opening up to the people and saying, I'm a real person. These are some of the things I struggle with. Now let's see if this organization can help me with that.
Well said.
I think all fair points. And on the Bates thing, sometimes authenticity can make you more appealing, may not be the right way to put it, but more
relatable.
Build a deeper connection quicker.
Relatable is the word.
Put it to you this way. It'll make you more respected. It might not necessarily make you more liked.
Yeah, you can respect him for it. And here's what I'm going to say about this too. You know what? And this is sometimes you do this in the media a lot too. You'll say, all right, you just heard the young man say that. The one thing that I took away from those, one thing I took away from his press conference is that he just was saying, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Like, yes, ma'am, like, yes, ma'am.
To every reporter. To G's point, he responded to every reporter, yes, ma'am, or yes, sir.
And And it reminded me, oh, you 41. That's still a kid. Like it was like his first day of school, really. And it really was cool because I was sitting there watching him, and I'm like, man, this is really cool because he was just happy somebody wanted him.
Yeah.
He was happy. Tyler, you know what that is?
Yeah, I was not wanted. 7 rounds by 32 teams.
Right. And so when somebody called
but
you,
when that phone rang after that draft, ooh wee.
But to add on to that, yeah, he was wanted. I don't know how it is to be drafted or to be wanted or nothing like that. But I do know how it feels to be like a head case and to be counted out, right? Mm-hmm. And so you put both of those things together, like, hell yeah, he's happy to be in the NBA. Yeah, he do feel rejuvenized. Yeah, he do feel refreshed, and maybe he did fall back in love with the game. This dude done been through a lot, and he's only 19 years old. Mm-hmm. And you got to, like, just couple those two things together, that you went from being this highly recruited high school player at 17 years old to at 19 years old, don't nobody believe that you're going to be in the NBA, and they think you're going to be playing in Europe in 2 or 3 years. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So, like, those two things combined, to me, I think that's he's humbled, man. And, like, life will humble you like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
And I think for me as a media member, sometimes when you hear somebody talk, you take a step back and say, okay, as me hearing that, I heard him say, look, I just need some time, get his head straight, get his mind straight, get his body straight. I'm not going to push. And if you're the organization, you don't want to have triggers, right? It seemed to me like if I was around this young man, the pressure of him being who he was supposed to be is a thing. And that pressure dictates how you act on and off the court. So if it's me, I'm like this. Hey, take your time, dog. Take your time. If you want to do if you want to play, for the charge, so be it. If you just need a little time to, figure out the offense, hang around the guys, I'll put him with a guy like Evan Mobley. Because you know why? Evan Mobley is a guy that was thrusted into the position, top 4 pick. They saying, you're going to be a unicorn. That's another thing. Like, we waiting on Evan Mobley to turn into Kevin Garnett. And what type of pressure is that? Like, and everybody is saying it too. So put these young guys together, and I think that's the reason why the Cavs said, for better or worse, the Cavs got a group of guys on that team between Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, Ricky Rubio. These dudes really got like some of the best character out of any guys in the NBA. Like, if you wanted a guy who thought he was not going to be able to do something or had some checkered past, the best place for him to be is there. Like, it's surrounding him because at least they could tell him, look, bro.
Cleveland is a city of rehab.
I feel that.
I keep saying
I feel that, like, 90% I feel what you're saying, right? But just because these dudes is high character dudes and they straight and narrow don't necessarily mean they're suitable to be the right mentor for them. Because sometimes, man, you need somebody that can actually relate to where you've been at, relate to what you're going through. Jarrett Allen might not be able to get on his level. And if he can't get on his level, how can he seriously help you? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's one thing to be a stand-up dude and to just have it all figured out. But sometimes, man, you need somebody that's been through it, right? That's actually suitable based on their own life experiences to say, hey, man, you tripping. I know how this is. I got a big pet peeve about people trying to tell me something and you ain't ever walked in my shoes. So how you know? You know what I mean? And I just feel like that, I don't know who's like that on this team, but he probably needs somebody like that as a mentor. Not somebody that's always been straight up and down and never got in trouble. Maybe you need somebody who then overcame a few things that can help you as go on your journey. Because it's not always about, like, what's right or what's wrong. It's about what's suitable.
All well said. Amani Bates, for better or worse, will be the most talked about 49th pick in recent memory, and I promise you, and we thank Amani Bates because we get a lot of content out of what he's done. We're going to get a lot of content out of his summer league games.
When is the summer league game?
We appreciate it. Summer league game starts on Friday at 8:30, and guess what? At Friday around 5 o'clock, we'll be doing the second edition of the Behind the Glass podcast, previewing the Cavs Summer League and Amani Bates, so make sure you check that out. Friday, 5 o'clock. We got two things we got to get to in the
16
final.
point-ups, I'm guaranteeing. Go ahead. 16, I'm guaranteeing.
We're going to get to that on Friday. We're going to do some previews. They got some other interesting guys in that Summer League roster. They got a lot of guys who can ball. It should be a fun Summer League team, and that sets up perfectly for Imani Bates at this current stage. The Guardians, though. 2 things on the Guardians. 3 things on the Guardians. 1, if you're at the game tonight, come say what's up to us. Me, Steve, Anthony, and Earl will be there. Come find us. Come say what's up. 2, the Guardians continue to be a roller coaster of emotions. Emmanuel Clase blew his 3rd straight save last night in what was another shaky appearance, but David Fry played the role of hero. And now we're headed into a rubber match tonight. If the Guardians can pull off a series win against the Atlanta Braves, how big would that be for this team as they approach the All-Star break?
It'd be huge. I mean, it'd be nice to beat a team like that in the series. I mean, that gives you the confidence that you need. But at the end of the day, you know, I've watched both games against the Atlanta Braves, and it continues to be the same thing. You know, it's the first one after the first game when we lost. You know, Tito said in the press, he says, we out-hit them, but they hit the ball further than us. And that's literally what it is. Like, they hit home runs when they get up there. Like, when they hitters come up, they hit. I mean, they had a guy hit 2 home runs in the first game. And I'm just like.
Their 9-hitter hit 2 home runs.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there like, this is – if we had – it made the game exciting. It's just like if the Guardians could do these – like, I seen then game 2 last night, I'm watching it. And we had like 2 of them go off the back wall. I'm like, y'all just I'm almost ready to say y'all need to be on the juice, but I ain't going to say that. I'm not going to say that. I want y'all to do things the right way, but it still was an exciting game. I mean, Rosario came through like he does. Now, it's going to take him like 10 games to do it. For 10 games, he ain't going to do nothing. But when he come through, that man come through in the clutch. He brought in a lot of runs, and obviously David Fry hit the walk-off to win the game in the end, so it made it a really good game. But it was a little shaky. I mean, Bieber started off hot. You know, it was a little shaky in the first inning, but he ended up giving up no runs. I go outside to go by the pool. I come back. We was up 2-0 when I left. We down 4-2. So I'm like, what's going on there? And it was a wild game, but the good thing I can say is that the Guardians are resilient and they continue to fight towards the end. But to win against the Atlanta Braves, one of the hottest teams in baseball, it would be huge for them to give them that confidence boost. And they just need to continue to find a way to hit and get the ball out of the park.
I mean, yesterday you snapped the Braves' 9-game winning streak. Everybody know the Atlanta Braves is damn near the best team in baseball. No correction, they are the best team in baseball. So you win this game, you win this series. Listen, you won back in Minnesota. You got Kansas City coming to town tomorrow. I think Minnesota is traveling to play Baltimore, so they got a tougher series than what you have. This will go a long way in propelling your momentum and just the energy going forward throughout this season. You mentioned Ahmad Rosario, 5-game hitting streak. In the last 5 games, he's batting .417 with 10 RBIs. Steven Kwan, same thing. He got 8 hits in his last 5 games, batting .421. So we can get the rest of the bats going. We've been right there with Atlanta this entire series, right? Mm-hmm. You look at the first game.
Every game
the one thing that impressed me, Gavin Williams come up, man, and he's 3 up, 3 down.
He had.
And the crazy thing about that is, man, Atlanta is known for putting runs on the board in the first inning. You know, that didn't happen. We hung right in there with them all the way through it. I thought Miles Straw had a very bad at-bat in the bottom of the 8th. He had a 3-1 count, and you just swinging at everything. That could have kept the momentum going.
If Bull was here, he would have told you he's not shot.
Yeah, I know. But then you come back, you win that game.
Great outfielder, though. Gun dude down at the plate.
But you come back and you win that game yesterday in the fashion that you did, and I think, like, tonight is going to be a toss-up. I mean, neither one of these pitchers is nothing to write home about.
Who's on the mound
for us? Kyle Quantrill.
Oh, shit.
But I don't want to see none of these old dudes. The Savalis, the Quantros, the Steffens. I don't want to see none of these old dudes. These old dudes is junk ball pitchers.
Those old dudes are all like 26 years old. You just
hey, they got old guy arms. I don't listen. If you not one of the 3, I'm not excited about it. And here's the thing too. You asked the question. You said is this is this going to spark you? No, it's not.
Of course it's not.
At all.
Not you.
No, I mean, that's what 500 is, mediocre. Rosario, he does his thing. And then while Rosario's doing his thing with hits, all of a sudden, Arias can't hit. He can't hit a fastball. You got Quan is balling. That's great, but Bell's not doing anything. So
He had hit.
when you talking about getting on the same page at the same time, they're just mediocre at the plate. That's just is what it is. You're gonna get some sparks here, some spurts here. Are they going to, put a 20-game winning streak together? No, they're not going to do that.
You wouldn't be excited for them to win a series against the Braves?
No.
Yes,
Yes,
you're
you would.
lying.
Yes, you would.
Come on, man.
The Braves is the best team in baseball. You wouldn't be excited about that. That the Guardians, that the mediocre Cleveland Guardians beat the best team in baseball in a 3-game series at home.
You know what?
Yes, you would.
You know what?
And potentially we could move back in the first place.
You know what would get me happy? Being 5 games over first place. That's what 5 games over 500.
Well, guess what? It can start with tonight.
I'm not looking. You catch me 3 games after the start. I'm not looking for the start. We've been doing this all year.
It already started. We won last night.
McNuggets, we've been doing this all year. They get 12 runs. Is this the start of the Guardians' batch coming up?
What is our next?
Can I be the voice of reason here?
Who is our next team after the Braves?
Kansas City.
We
for
play the Royals.
Oh yeah, come on, man.
Here's how I think you should look at it. I think G is right. I don't think in the grand scheme of things, it matters a ton, especially with a extended break coming up for the All-Star break in 4 games. However, the Braves don't lose many games, and they very rarely lose series. And I do think, at least from the mental aspect of this team, that is a team that kills you by paper cuts. It's singles, 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 an occasional extra base hit, compared to a team like Atlanta that hits home runs left and right. If you can put together 2 wins against a team like this, especially last night where you come from behind after Clase blows the save, you were in it on Monday in the first game. If you could find a way to win this game, it does give you that little bit of, hey, you know what? Maybe we're not as far off, which we've all said many times, but sometimes in the clubhouse, and you've been in locker rooms, sometimes you need that weird spark to make yourself believe it more than people from the outside. Your coaches are always like, yeah, you got that extra step. And I'm like, yeah, but if I run a suicide again, I'm not going to get that 9.4. I'm probably going to get that 9.6. You need that extra step. So sometimes seeing it could actually portray into something a lot bigger.
Can we all agree?
But it's not a World Series roster.
Can we all agree that we bend over backwards to give the Guardians their
coverage? Yes.
They're not. I mean, no. Like not even the coverage. We bend over backwards to find the silver lining in everything that they do.
That's true.
Like,
yes.
I don't see it how y'all see it, man. Again, I think y'all got unrealistic expectations, right? When I look at the Cleveland Guardians, I don't think the Cleveland Guardians is one of the best overall teams in baseball. I do think the Cleveland Guardians are the best team in the American League Central. So we sit up here and we talk about the Guardians being a roller coaster ride or being under 500, but you know what? They're good enough for the situation that they're in. And the situation that they're in, that they play in a weak division, and they're arguably the best team in a weak division, right? So at the end of the day, if the Guardians make the playoffs, I don't care how they got there. It's just the fact that they made the playoffs.
That's true.
And
I'm being totally honest with you. I can care less about them being under 500 or who they lost to
I care about that.
or how they got there. It don't matter.
I care about the 500.
If we're under 500 and we division winners, that means we was the best of all the teams that was under 500.
I get that, but I don't like that.
So what I'm saying is, man, the Guardians do just enough to get by. And you know what? If that's well enough for their situation, that is well enough for their situation.
I don't like their situation. My situation is I want to win.
But you can't change their situation.
You sure you can? Sure they can. They can. See, this is the thing. Sure they can. They can change their situation, but they did a good job of selling everybody in the world that they can't change it. Now this is crazy. Now you competitive in this division, right? And they do this. There are masterminds by this, bro, because they're the smartest of the guys in propaganda. And what they'll tell you is, look what we've done with so little. Look at this. And we're more competitive than the other 2 teams in town.
They're the only team in town that have not mortgaged their future.
And their future is what?
I don't know.
Their future is bright.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe they
what's the
should.
future?
I think the future is bright.
I'm about to say with the
I think it's
pitching,
bright.
with the pitching is bright.
They didn't have
future is
pitching.
bright.
They didn't have. Let's watch this, McNuggets. They didn't have pitching for 10 years, and they keep telling you that hey, we had Cliff Lee, we had CC Sabathia, we have Corey Kluber, we got Bieber,
Just 2 or 3
did
years ago,
mortgage
the
their
Atlanta Braves
future.
had the worst record in baseball worst record in their division going into the All-Star break, and they won the World Series. A couple years before that, the Washington Nationals, the same thing.
They got sticks.
I don't know if they sticks
They
is
got
all that
sticks.
sweet.
Everybody's sticks is better than these
No,
sticks.
I ain't talking about the Atlanta
That's
Braves
true.
this year. I'm talking about then. All I'm saying is, man, the Guardian season is in parallel last year to what it is this year. Just get me to the playoffs. With Tito as my manager, with just all of that combined, you don't know what's going to happen when you get there.
Oh, I do.
And like I told you
You
last
don't. No, you don't.
Oh, yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Baseball
No,
is
you
funny
don't.
like that.
Oh, yes, you do.
Baseball is funny like that. No, you
I'm about
don't.
to say, Bull sold me on that. Baseball might be the only playoffs where you really can't predict it.
Oh, really? You got to have medium sticks. They got the worst sticks of all time.
They beat the Rays last year
Guess what?
with no sticks.
Hey, guess what?
They lost to the Yankees.
Thank you very
So
much.
what? Did you think they was gonna beat the Rays?
Listen, that's a toss-up game.
That's my point
Because
exactly.
the Rays didn't have sticks like that.
You act like they got blown out by the Yankees.
No. Listen, here's the thing. You don't got to get blown out in baseball.
No, you're
You're
not going to.
You don't got to get blown
in the playoffs. You're not going.
But here's the problem. I ask every single baseball dude that come up in here and they can't give me an answer, McNuggets. I say it. You tell me one team in the modern era who has not had any power and they depend on stealing bases and getting singles to win a World Series. That has never happened.
Maybe, why can't the Guardians be the first?
Huh? You really want to come back for 4-0?
Why?
Why can't we be the
We
first?
did it before.
The Cavs was the first team in the
We did it
NBA.
before.
He should come back for
This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm dealing with here, people.
Anything can happen, man. Anything is possible, bro.
And that's the magic. And I salute y'all.
Anything is possible.
I salute the Guardians.
Anything is
for
possible. Y'all get off the Guardians' back, though.
Because anything
Get off their back.
They sold it better than Disney. Anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
And guess what? They 500. They got 35,000 showing up. Shout out, salute. Y'all got crack in them hot dogs.
McNuggets going tonight.
He's going tonight.
And I'm going with it.
And
I'm going with it.
And the snacks on McNuggets.
Hey, matter of fact, yeah, we want some of them crack hot dogs. Let me 2 of them brats is like $50.
It was Dollar Dog Night on Monday. In the 8th inning, the line to get a hot dog was no joke, like 85 people long.
Jim joints.
I don't get, listen, and this is no disrespect to anyone who bought 10, 15 hot dogs at Dollar Dog Night. You realize you could just buy a pack of hot dogs at the grocery store for like
It's
a
different.
6-pack is $3.
No McNuggets.
It's not you.
No
ain't-
McNuggets.
you ain't in
Take
the
it from
moment.
3 people who on the panels whose mothers used to tell them no all the time.
Yeah.
Can I have some hot dogs? Hey,
No.
shut up. No.
No.
Hey, can I get some in the grocery store? No. Can I ride in the front seat and then eat these Skittles? No.
You know what? Do you know what the feeling is like when you finally get some money in your
Oh,
pocket?
Jesus.
And your mama can't tell you
And
what
your
to
mama
do.
can't tell you no.
listen,
Can't tell
when
you
I
what
got
to
to
do.
the league and got my check, I always wanted to buy something like on PlayStation. You know how on 2K you can get like VC?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I always wanted to buy it, and my mom would be like,
no.
absolutely
Spend
not.
that $100
when
real
I,
quick.
Boy, when I got that money,
That
oh my God,
450,000?
I just wanted the experience.
Or when the Jays came out and it wasn't no question in your heart if you was getting them that
Oh
day.
my God.
Bro, I got 1 pair of shoes a year. That's when the school year started.
That was it.
Yes.
And they
Yeah.
better last you to the
Yeah.
next school year because that's your summer school. That's your
That
summer
was me
school
too, for the
too.
record.
So, but by the way, McNuggets, when you say why do you not buy a pack of hot dogs? Because when you were told no, you make it up for lost time. You understand them hot dogs is the same when you get home, but it's just the fact that I'm in the ballpark and I'm eating
And
what
I
I
can
want.
go do it.
And I can do
can
that.
go do it.
And can't nobody. And that's why I see wives, trust me. The reason you get in arguments with your husband about money is not because he's not listening to you. It's because he's just proving a point. He's like, I refuse to have my mom tell me no from 0 to 25, and then my wife get with me and tell me no from 25 to 50. No, I'm gonna get these hot dogs.
I thought it was 25 to life.
I gotta. Certain people don't. Certain people don't be making
Next topic, man.
Certain people don't be
All right,
making it.
Next
so-
topic.
Tyvis, with you on the panel next week, I promise the next time we are all together, we will do who would be the best recruiter of any UCSS panelists. I promise you we will do that
Oh,
with
yeah,
you.
we almost out of time.
But we got 5 minutes left, and we have something with Earl out there we have to do.
Hey,
Earl,
this is my
hold on.
first ever interview.
Let me set it up. Earl.
You got a
Earl
package?
did his first ever on-camera interview at Greg Newsom's charity softball event. We got a one-on-one with AJ Green at 60 seconds. So we're going to listen. We're going to learn a little bit about AJ
You was
Green.
nervous.
I was
And
nervous.
then we are going
You was
to
nervous?
teach
I was
Earl
nervous.
some of the tricks and
You
traits that
talk
he
to
can
me all the
implement
time.
on his next one. So,
Here we go.
I know
Earl, you ready to see your debut?
I'm watching the chat. Anybody laugh at me, I'm pulling
Let's
up.
hit it.
Shoot. Suckalicious.
It's your boy Earl Pearl here with the Ultimate Cleveland Sports with the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, live at Greg Newsom Celebrity Softball Charity Event. I got Cleveland Browns defensive back AJ Green with me. AJ, what's up, man?
What's up, man?
How you feel?
I feel good, man. Happy
All
to
right.
be here.
So we just gonna ask you 60 seconds. Have some fun questions for you. First question: PS5 or Xbox?
I'm a big PS5 guy. I kind of left Xbox back a while back when I was a kid, but big PS5 guy now.
What's the game that you playing the most right now on PS5?
It's down to Madden and Fortnite. I'm kind of big on Fortnite, but I also give out work in Madden too.
I'm gonna have to get my boy on that Call of Duty Warzone.
Yeah, that's a fun game. That's tough though. That Warzone real tough. There's a lot of sweats on there too.
What's your favorite restaurant in Cleveland?
My favorite restaurant in Cleveland, Jay down in the Flats. That's a restaurant I just found out about. It's like a steak and sushi spot. It's fire.
All right, so I'm pretty sure you had a Cleveland staple by now. Polish boy or corned beef?
I actually haven't had the Cleveland staple yet. If somebody know which spot I should go to find out to try that Cleveland staple at, please let me know.
All right, and final one from you. Chevy or Ford?
I'm gonna probably say Ford. I'm gonna go with Ford.
My boy got some skills, man. AJ Green, Cleveland Browns quarterback.
Earl, you get first dibs. How'd you do?
I thought it was probably like a 6 out of 10, but I was nervous. You could tell. I got this thing to where either I'm on TV or on radio. I tend to stumble over my words a lot. I don't know if I should go like take a speech class or just like roll with the authentic. That's just how it is. But I don't like listening to myself back, and I don't like watching myself back. Like that was not that good.
Authenticity over everything.
You'll get over. You'll get over halfway through. Did you notice? Like you asked him. I like the fact you kept it real with him, right? Like he really asked him like Ford or Chevy. Like that is like, that's like what's the name money? That's practice squad money. Like AJ Green was like, dang, bro. I mean, I got like. You know what I'm saying? Like I got a little something better than that. Like AJ Green.
What, you got a Kia?
No, AJ mid tier is you get you a Jaguar, or
I wonder what he drives.
or like
I was just trying to think off the top of my head and try to go with questions that McNuggets didn't ask. Like I'm a Chevy guy.
I'm a Chevy guy too.
Chevy gang over everything at all times. You know what I mean? So I was just curious and like. I don't know. I just try to be personable with these dudes, like humans too, and I really don't think that they grew up with their mamas driving Rangers and Bugattis and things like that.
Right.
So.
He probably, I wonder, or you could have asked him. See, half this
I
stuff
need to
off
do
the
a
top of your
60
head.
second, man.
Now Tyvis won a 60
I want a
seconds. See what
60
you
second
did?
with somebody, man.
Let's do it
Tyvis-
right now.
Look,
60 seconds
Let's
right
do it right now.
What's going on? It's your boy Tyrus Powell. I'm here with Earl the Pearl, one of the weekly producers for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. You can also find him doing his radio thing as producing and whatnot. 60 seconds. You ready?
Let's do this.
The clock starts as soon as you start talking. You got 31 seconds left.
go.
Really? Oh, Rihanna or Beyonce?
Rihanna,
Peanut butter and jelly or bologna?
peanut butter and jelly,
Hot dog or burger?
burger,
Fortnite, Call of Duty?
Call of Duty,
Madden or 2K?
Madden,
The Wood or Love and Basketball?
both. The wood.
The next question is boxers or briefs. You can't ask that.
I'm not asking that question.
Six,
I would do no social thing. Oh, thank y'all. That was my boy Earl the Pearl. Make sure y'all check him out on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Peace.
So we'll do a real tip, Earl. I told you right after. You got to get the microphone a little closer to the interviewees.
Yeah, he told me
Face.
just. I ain't gonna tell you what he told me. That ain't what he said.
where you
Sometimes,
put-
he said sometimes you got to just set a mic in his face.
You do.
That's messed
It
up.
sounds a lot better. No, you do. You gotta make sure you can pick him up. For real. But Earl did a good job. It was a good one.
No, I was nervous. Shout out to McNuggets, though, bro. Ever since I've been around him, man, he done taught me things in this game that I didn't know when I first got to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
That's crazy. He ain't taught me a thing.
The other thing he told me, I was like, you know, when I say we was reporting live.
Oh, yeah, Earl, if you go back and listen, Earl's like, I'm here live with AJ Green. I'm like, Earl, this airing in 3
I'm
weeks.
here live.
Still live with AJ Green.
I'm here live with AJ Green.
Yeah.
McNuggets like, no, fam, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
McNuggets
This is gonna
ain't
come
taught me
on.
nothing,
This
man.
is for Christmas, Earl. This is for
I've
Christmas.
been knowing McNuggets for a year and,
Said he
and a
ain't
couple
taught me
months
nothing.
now. And he ain't taught me a thing. It's pretty messed up, man. You think you know a guy.
Thomas, I will give you a one-on-one interviewing lesson whenever you want. Actually, you did a good job, though. That 60 seconds with Earl was good. In all seriousness.
Some things, you know, you just be natural at, you know. Maybe, you know what? If I'm doing Cardell's softball game, maybe I just walk up to random people and just practice my skills.
No, what we need to be doing is we need to be out in these streets talking to people, getting your 60 seconds off with these random fans running around here. But we're going to have McNuggets do it. And, you know, but McNuggets don't like you. Be like, bro, you be signing me up for a lot of work.
Well, McNuggets is the most popular one out of all of us.
False.
Everybody knows.
No, that's true. Everybody know
McNuggets.
Everybody love McNuggets.
You that
man.
McNuggets guy. He was in South Carolina. And they knew it.
Real quick, and I told McNuggets this. I was at the barbershop last week. I'm getting out the chair, getting my lineup and things like that, and the dude just stared at me. And he like, you the Earl of Pearl dude. You be on TV with Tyvis Powell. I'm a huge fan of Tyvis Powell.
Oh, please.
No, I'm dead serious, bro. I'm dead serious, man.
What did he give you a reason?
I don't know. He knew who you was, though.
Hey, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, listen,
I try to do the best I can for
I'll tell you what,
like
and this is, we're going to wrap this up, man. Shout out to all the people that we done lost in the rap game. We're going to wrap up the BET Awards here for Los Angeles. Peace, love, and soul.
Overtime.
I got to roll.